Who watches the watchmen? Or who guards the guards? Decimus, Iunius, Iuvenalis. Good evening. So I'm just gonna get this out of the way so I don't have to worry about it anymore. Now, what happened was a few weeks back, maybe 2 months back, I was contacted by Kathy Vogan that Consortium News is gonna do a segment called CN Live, that they're gonna go ahead and cover things like they did in the Unity 4J stuff. And but also do news stuff. I'm like, okay. I was like, as long as maybe I should actually bring it up. Let's see. Now, because this is emails and stuff, I don't want to get people's information out that I don't mean to on accident. So just gonna have to bear with me. Let's see. All that don't really need to share. I don't think really anyone cares. It doesn't really apply to this topic. I'm just trying to get a little bit of a backstory to this whole event and issue. Man, that's a lot of emails. Yeah, you guys aren't seeing anything, so just wait for a bit. Oh, man, how long ago was this? This is in June. No, wait. Holy crap, when is this? June. Wait, May 1st? Alright. Oh, wow, this is way back in April 30th of this year. Okay, let me go ahead and screenshot this and share it in a bit. Alright, screen, and let's get this part in, and let me let's see, need to redact information. My information doesn't need to be redacted. Okay, let's see. All right, that's one. And let's get the reply back. All right, let's not worry about that. My beef isn't with individuals. It's fine. I'm done with the individual parts. I'm talking about the organization of how things are done. And let's see. So my beef is with Consortium News' hypocrisy. And I listened to some Robert Perry just to see where he was coming from. And interesting thing, and I'm going to go over some of his interviews, which he's actually did an interview with On Point. that I'm just going to play back for a few minutes. Not necessarily the whole thing. If anyone wants to, you guys can always go ahead and find it and listen to it. It's worth it listening to the entire thing. I like that fella. Okay. And let's close that off, and we'll open that up. I already have that. Shoot. Downloads up top. All right, and we'll go here. Nope, I have to go left. All right, double checking. All right, good. Alt O. Hi, Shirley. I guess I'm not very busy tonight, huh? All right, and I'm going to go ahead and show my Zoom, my monitor, and I'll get to the entire story quickly later on. All right, so I was contacted on April 30th of 2019 by Kathy that they're planning on to broadcast on a weekly basis and are looking for someone to manage OBS. Both Elizabeth Voss and I are working for CN now as our number of outstanding independent journalists, with Joe Loria as editor-in-chief, since the role is one you could fill. And in my opinion, he would be a good fit. It would be a good fit for each other. I thought I'd ask on both sides. I've been told on one end that my judgment is trusted, so here's my pitch to you. Credited as one of the most important independent news outlets in the world, Consortium News merits a solid back end. In return, we would appreciate that their collaborators are not treated as volunteers, being paid by the hour, and as you two would be paid for your labor as someone I trust both technically and ethically. I love you to be part of this new program, so will you join us, Kathy? I replied, hi, Kathy, hope you're doing well too, and that's great news among the bad news that we constantly receive. I do like Consortium News and you and Elizabeth as well, and Joe, even though I've never spoken with him directly. My current stance on things are quite controversial. Anarchist to meaning no government controllers, flat earther meaning globe earth model has some glaring scientific and historic faults. As someone doing no technical work, I doubt will be much of an issue. Are you sure you still want me on the team? Thanks, Bond. Certainly, that won't be an issue. Welcome aboard, Bond. We'll be in touch soon. Yada, yada, yada. Here we are here. And what happens is... I could go ahead and close that. Oh, oops. Close myself. Main monitor. I could take that off. All right. During one live stream, which is Seen Live episode 5, and of course I just called myself a glorified button pusher. Just get everything organized, ready for a live stream. And all the other stuff, design work was done by Kathy Vogan. And a lot of the scripts that I have ready prepared for Consortium News or Seeing Live, it's a lot of script work, a lot of hours put into it, and don't get paid much. Pretty much a flat rate of $100 per episode. Now, so think about it, $100 a week pretty much, when I used to make pretty much close to $1,500 a day. Which I haven't really had work for a long time. Now, I'm responding to Blazing Koala, yet someone else is responding to me and ends up making a comment on Consortium News' forum, and this is where it all starts down. All right, so I reply, I think the fact that these mass shootings, you guys can't see. I'll do that. I think the fact that these mass shootings cannot be investigated to ensure it's not a false flag or psyop is an indicator that may be a false flag or psyop. Now, I am not stating a fact or non-factual statement. It is just a statement where I'm thinking, and to ensure it may or may not be, is an indicator that may or may not be false flag or psyop. Now, this fella named Ronnie Mitchell, and of course you won't be able to see any of my replies, my 2 replies that have been censored out, and it's been censored out because of terms and service of Consortium News. Ronnie Mitchell, August 9, 2019 at 4:12 p. I guess, yeah, 4:12 p.m. I enjoyed the part about the Times and the Guardian ambush of Assange. New news to me for sure. One thing I can think that can detract from CNN's credibility in a comment section on YouTube when a tech person there, Bon Kim, refers to mass shootings as false flags. But no less important is that also is a flat earther. No joke, look at the comment area, but as a tech person for CNN, it can look like those views reflect those of CNN, which is ridiculous, of course, but not everyone will know that. ConsortiumNews.com. August 9th, 2019 at 4:39 p.m. Those views absolutely do not reflect those of Consortium News. Thank you for pointing that out. And I replied because I did not say that they are mass shootings. Nowhere, let me repeat, nowhere in any of my videos will you see me stating as a fact that mass shootings are false flags. In retrospect, if I didn't even say that they are psyops. Have there been false flags? Yes. Have there been psyops? Yes. But am I saying any of these mass shootings are psyops or false flags? No. I'm looking into the details and questioning what the findings are. And if you are saying that me just looking into it is me saying it is as it is, then fuck you. You got it wrong. All right. And let's see. Where is this? I just want to make sure I don't show it on accident. All right. So in return, what I get was a email back from Joe Loria. Consortium News does not practice censorship against anyone. Ha ha ha. We have a comments policy. Your comment violated it by making a false statement that these mass murders cannot be investigated. It's simply untrue. They can and are. And here's the thing. I never said that they cannot be investigated. That was never what I said. Now, they're going to take it, or at least Kathy is. But she's representing Consortium News when she's replying me. So we'll take it as that. Now, I just want to make sure I do not show the wrong thing again. Let's see. Not that one. There we go. Oh, here we are. And let's go to the main monitor. My original reply that was removed, and I had 2 replies removed. Oh, you again. And I'm copy and pasting what exactly I said. And I go, at no point in time did I ever mention the mass shootings as false flags. No proof is given, and I cannot provide proof. I can only point out the lies. It looks like I found another one. So, just saying, look, here's the funny, ironic part. A lot of people that work at Consortium News follow Julian Assange, and they probably followed the entire 2016 DNC debacle, the election fraud that occurred within the DNC primary with Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. Now, all of them would say, hey, why are we putting so much focus on the quote unquote hackers, whether they be from Russia or from Julian Assange or from Seth Rich, whoever, and not focus on the actual glaring problem, which is the corruption that's within that party, which those emails that were released, whether it was hacked or leaked, why don't we focus on that problem? Instead, and look at Consortium News, they are focusing on me stating something, saying that I stated something, which is not factual statement, when that's not how you should interpret it. And we're going to go more into more detail as to why. Instead, why don't they do their fucking job of journalism and look into the original message? Did I say that mass shootings are false flags? No. And if it's a flat earther, it was never mentioned. So let's not even go that way. Bon Kim refers to mass shootings as false flags. I did not. And if you did your fucking job as a journalist, as a news media, then you should know that that is a not factual statement. Instead, you're going to double down on me, censor me, and say, yes, you did. And we're going to go into more on that in a bit. Now, I want to let you just, maybe I should just show one thing real quick as well. Let's see. And I know I printed out some things. Okay, this is just kind of what I had in the comment section. But as I play back a interview with Robert Perry, and you should listen closely when he's interviewed by On Point and NPR. Look, Kathy goes, I didn't quote all of it because it's the first part that is false. I think the fact that these mass shootings cannot be investigated is not a fact. That's where the problem lies. And I'm going, there's a reason I didn't just put that part in my statement. It's like you saying I'm prejudiced against gay people because you quote from me, I hate gay pride parades. Well, my full quote is, I hate gay pride parades when people who oppose gay pride parades show up. It's like, why focus on the 1/3 of the entire statement, and why not focus on the entirety of the statement? I mean, isn't that what you guys hate? When people, and especially in mainstream media, take statements out of context? That's what the fucking mainstream media do all the time. So why are you doing it? And this is hypocrisy at its finest. You can't say, oh, I'm prejudiced against, everyone's prejudiced against gay people because he said, I hate gay pride parades. And it's like, I didn't say that. Look at the full context. I said, I hate gay pride parades when people who oppose gay pride parades show up. That's an entirely different statement when you put in the full context. And all you want to do is focus on the 1/3 of that statement that I made. And then you're going to ban me on that, censor me on that. Yet, you don't censor anybody who threatens violence against anyone on your comments, and that's against terms of service. Or anyone who lies, where the person who, Ronnie Mitchell here, lies where I'm referring to mass shootings as false flags, which I never have. 0 times. Look through all my videos, hundreds, if not thousands of hours of videos. Never once do I say, hey, mass shootings are false flags. Never. Never, ever, never, ever. Could that be? Possibly. We won't know unless we investigate it. And isn't that the journalist's job? When someone says something, hey, let's investigate whether if that statement is true or not. Why don't we go and, look, I'm getting carried away here. Let's listen to Robert Perry on Point, okay? And while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and ready up the rest of the emails. Here we go. Listen to the first part.
This message comes from On Point sponsor Indeed. If you're hiring, with Indeed, you can post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on your short list of qualified candidates using an online dashboard. Get started at Indeed.com/NPR podcast.
From WBUR Boston and NPR, I'm Tom Ashbrook, and this is On Point. Investigative reporter Robert Perry has been around the block a few times. Back in the 1980s, even his own editors sometimes had a hard time believing what he unearthed. The White House disobeyed Congress and smuggled arms to Iran so they would fund a right-wing army in Central America? No way. Yes way. And Perry proved it, and a lot more. He's just won the I.F. Stone Medal for journalistic independence, and he's thinking about the U.S. news media and the story it tells us of reality. This hour On Point, award-winning investigative reporter Robert Perry on the American press and America's understanding of itself and the world. You can join us on air or online, where this conversation is always on. Do you get what you need from the U.S. news media, the American press? Are you sure? Join us anytime at onpointradio.org or on Twitter and Facebook at onpointradio. Joining me now from Washington is reporter Robert Perry, editor of Consortium News, the first investigative news magazine on the Internet back in the mid-'90s. He won the George Polk Award for his reporting on the Iran-Contra affair, breaking many of the stories as the scandal unfolded. The most recent of his many books is America's Stolen Narrative, From Washington and Madison to Nixon, Reagan, and the Bushes to Obama. That title itself gives you an idea of where we're headed today. Perry has just won the I.F. Stone Medal for Journalistic Independence, presented by the Nieman Foundation. I was there for the awarding of the medal and thought you might want to hear from this man. Robert Perry, welcome to On Point. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Tom.
I really want to go back and look at some of the moments of digging that you've done in your long career as an investigative reporter. But I wish you'd unfold some of your own thesis here on America's Stolen Narrative, the title of your last book. How does a country's narrative get stolen, and what does the performance of the news media have to do with that?
Well, there's an effort by many people in various positions of power to get the American people to believe what makes the most sense for the people in power to want them to believe. And we've seen this really evolving during my period in Washington from the 1970s when, if you think back to that time, just after the Vietnam War, there was the Pentagon Papers. We then had the Watergate scandal. We then had disclosures about the CIA's secret operations, including assassinations, the so-called family jewels. Mm-hmm. And those were all sort of coming out at that time. And it reached the point that the American people were very distrustful of their government. It was very hard for the government to get the American people riled up again to go into more foreign adventures. And that was a challenge that was facing the government when Ronald Reagan becomes president in the 1980s. And we now can see from many of the declassified records from that era that the Reagan people took this all very seriously. They had this goal of what they called kicking the Vietnam syndrome. And the way they did it was to try to get the American people to believe in a world that wasn't really there. It was a propagandized, extreme version of the world out there. And by doing that, to get the American people more ready to have more support for wars in the future. There was even an effort early on in the Reagan administration to bring in CIA experts, people who were used to targeting foreign countries with propaganda and disinformation, and bring them into the White House and have them set up similar programs for the American public. It was headed by a fellow named Walter Raymond Jr., who was the top propagandist at the CIA. He was sent over by his boss, William Casey, the director. And he set up at the National Security Council these efforts to have interagency task forces to figure out how best to sell these issues to the American people. And the advice he always gave to his subordinates was to glue black hats on America's enemies and glue white hats on the groups that the American government was supporting. In the case of the Contras in Nicaragua, those were the rebels fighting the leftist government in Nicaragua, the Sandinistas. His advice was to glue the black hats on the Sandinistas and to glue the white hats on the Contras. And so you had this issue framed as the Contras were the moral equals of the Founding Fathers, in a phrase that Reagan was scripted to read. And the Sandinistas in Nicaragua was a totalitarian dungeon. So you had this mythology that was pushed to sort of create these almost fictional characters as a way to get the American people back in line so they would begin to support these efforts going forward. And we've seen how that's evolved since then. It's been sort of a bipartisan effort to really manipulate the American people. There was a phrase that the Reagan folks like to use called perception management. They had to manage the perceptions of the American people about the world around us. So it was really an effort through using propaganda and the U.S. news media to get the American people back under some control. So they would rally to things like, as we've now seen, the Iraq War in just last decade. And always the same kinds of approaches. The enemies always are wearing black hats. The U.S. side is always wearing white hats, but that's not really the reality. So in a sense, the true narrative, the true reality out there has been stripped away on behalf of the interests of the powerful forces in Washington who want to maintain a large military budget or want to get the U.S. involved in some of these foreign adventures.
You bring that right up to date in your book, America's Stolen Narrative. You assert that a kind of false history in effect entrapped Barack Obama. How?
Well, I think it's been true of some of the Democrats that they have been often unwilling to press for the truth about Republicans. There's a much greater timidity on the part of Democrats, as we've seen over the years. They tend to want to let bygones be bygones, move on to more pragmatic issues. So, for instance, after the end of the Reagan Bush 1 years, you had a number of still pending scandals where the truth had really not been developed. Iran-Contra, we still did not know about, and that's this remarkable scandal where the Reagan administration secretly sold arms to the Iranians, often through Israel, and then some of the profits went back for the Contras in Nicaragua. But we never even quite figured out where that started, and the history was, in a sense, truncated because when we get to the period of the early 90s, there was a loss of interest in trying to find the real truth. And then after Bill Clinton becomes president, there was an idea, well, let's just let that slide into the history. Mm-hmm. We'll just go forward. And we saw something similar with President Obama. When he took office, he said we have to look forward, not backward. So the crimes committed during the Bush II administration, torture, the whole reasons for the Iraq War, all these very important issues to really determine what had actually happened, they were sort of set aside. Even in Britain, you had much more interest in trying to figure out how Great Britain got involved in the Iraq War. You have the Chilcot Commission, for instance. But in the United States, there was nothing like that. There was no serious review of how the Iraq War happened. There were a few pieces of it because some of the Senate committees looked at the torture issue. But it was all very limited and not the kind of serious effort that one might expect from a real democracy.
Robert Perry, you talk about the White House, especially under Ronald Reagan, looking back at the 70s, the American people kind of being off the reservation or, not taking the bit, not taking the harness. They wanted them back into a kind of control, wanted to use perception management to do that, and using the U.S. news media to corral the American view of the world again. But the news media typically presents itself as not something to be used, but rather, as the body that will be the watchdog in our society of what's going on. So use how?
Well, I think that's the old view of the press. I'm not sure many people really view it that way today. If you go back to the 70s, it was not a real golden era, but let's just say it was an era when the press was doing its job more responsibly, digging into some serious issues of government criminality, whether it be lying to get the country into the Vietnam War, the Pentagon Papers, which were published by the New York Times and Washington Post and other major news organizations. And then you had the Watergate scandal, which is somewhat of a follow-on scandal, really, to the Pentagon Papers. We now know that they were essentially linked in because Nixon was afraid that some of his lies about the Vietnam War would also come out, which led him to be sort of paranoid and set up the plumbers unit in the first place. Mm-hmm. So we have this idea that the press was doing its job more or less back then, but it had to be also reined in. And during the Reagan era, there was a very serious effort to bring us under control. I was at the Associated Press for most of that time, and later Newsweek. And what I saw was there was pressure on the press in a fairly sophisticated way, but there also was at the higher levels of the news media a sense that maybe things had gone too far in the 70s and that it wasn't, quote, good for the country, a phrase that I would hear often, and that it might be best if the press didn't write so critically about the government. The people that were running the press at the time, or people I dealt with in the news media, people like a Keith Fuller at the Associated Press or Maynard Parker at Newsweek. These people really shared many of the views of a more aggressive U.S. foreign policy, the U.S. standing tall in the world. They were less about informing the people of all the facts than sort of making sure the public didn't think too badly of some of these policies. So what we ended up with was both externally from the Reagan administration at the time, and they had many allies and they had attack groups that went after some of us, groups like Accuracy and Media, for instance. But there was also a sense at the higher levels of the news media that maybe the press should get a bit lighter on terms of looking at these dirty secrets of the U.S. government.
Now that's all I'm going to have you listen to, but it's worth an entire listening to. This is on WBR On Point, October 26, 2015, journalist Robert Perry, America's Hidden History. But you can pretty much glean what I'm trying to come from it by listening to all of that. Now I'm just going to take a step back and show you these email threads. Redacted some of the information. Pretty much everything hopefully is okay. And here we go. I heard you want to resign from CNN Live. Yes, I did. Holy shit, really? We've been doing great work together, and I've just been modifying all the graphics to suit your availability. My understanding is that you're annoyed about having a comment removed from the CNN website, which appears to have breached their terms and service, whatever, T&Cs. I'm surprised you want to quit because of that, but since you assured me your personal views wouldn't be your problem, and I already said originally that are quite controversial. That will be much of an issue. Now, let's see. But if you're firmly intent on withdrawing, please don't jeopardize the show. Give me a bit more time to replace you. Can I have 2 weeks of notice at least? Hi, Kathy. I really like you, Kathy and Elizabeth, but I will not in good conscience support a hypocritical... Oh, shoot. Damn it. I should have redacted that part of mine. Too late now. It's not the same reason all your disagreement with Susie Dawson, but because she was telling people not to talk about something. I only stated my relationship with Consortium News exists because CNN has no problem with my personal views. And now obviously I should probably put that in. And thus I want no relationship with it whatsoever. Sorry, Kathy, but I hope you understand. Sincerely, Abon. Reply, I can simply break a wait, I'm missing something here. 05. Where's 06? Hold on. This is all out of order. Give me a second. Let's go back to 06. Reply, I understand, Abon, that you're upset, but there seems to be misunderstanding. Consortium's policy is simply to remove factually incorrect information. And again, what I'm trying to tell them over and over again is that I never made that factually incorrect information. The person called Ronnie, let me make sure I'm getting the right thing. Here we go. Ronnie is saying that I refer to mass shootings as false flags, which I never have ever, not even in my own videos, not even in comment sections. Never, ever, ever. And of course, I can never point that out because my comments keep getting removed, censored. So in order to make sure that you guys can understand that I never ever said those words, and if you look at the full context of my statement and not just 1/3 of the statement, taking my statement out of context, then you would understand that. But again, doubling down of what I put down there and just focusing on the one little issue. Anyways, one is of course entitled to one's own opinion, the concerning site and channel, but not one's own truth. And let's talk about truth. All right? That's what we're here to do, is find out the truth. But if you're going to take the government's word for it and mainstream media's word for it, that mass shootings, 100% of all mass shootings are 100% mass shootings, and they've never been false flags or psyops. How are you going to know if you just take them at their word? Don't you need to investigate to find out if that statement is true? On the other hand, there are some that would say, hey, 100% of mass shootings is a conspiracy theory, that it's a false flag or psyop. Although I've never met any one person that said, yeah, all of them have been. Yet again, You're never going to find out the truth if you don't investigate and you just take one person's word over it for another, or one agency or one government, or, hey, yeah, someone investigated, and who was it? Oh, it was the same people who pretty much could have set it up. It's like having Monsanto investigate Monsanto for Monsanto's wrongdoings. Who the fuck is going to say that's a great idea? Probably only Monsanto and those who support them. People injured by Monsanto, they're going to say, what the fuck is going on here? No. If statements are false, they must inform the public, particularly if they are coming from our teams, speakers, or writers who have earned a high level of public trust over the years. Oh, I guess I never earned any public trust. Why did you come to me? Why do you trust me? Because I'm adamant about the truth. I'll defend your freedom to say whatever you want. But I'm going to say whatever I want too, and I'm going to defend my right to say it. And especially if you have a misunderstanding or being a hypocrite or you're lying about something, and I'm going to defend my position. Your statement that mass shootings cannot be investigated, again, 1/3 of my statement, was perhaps awkwardly worded, but as it stands, it is simply untrue. Yeah, because it's 1/3 of my statement. They can and have been. Well, not necessarily, not all of them. Are you sure you're 100% that all mass shootings are 100% mass shootings and not one ever was a psyop or a false flag? Although false flag makes no sense. The one in Las Vegas was investigated for well over a year and regular update broadcasts around the world, even to Australia. And who is investigating that? Mainstream media? The FBI? CIA? NSA? And you're going to trust their word for it, even though many times they've lied to the public, but you're gonna go for this one moment because it's mass shooting. Yes, we're gonna trust the government investigation. We're gonna trust the mainstream media's investigation on this story because it's mass shooting. And here's the other point, which I'll take. I would rather have these mass shootings all be fake, even though it's a fucking lie, than actual real people getting killed in mass shootings. That means no one died in these mass shootings. They've all been faked. I would rather have that than real people actually having been dying. And now here's the other thing. But what I don't want is for everyone to believe that there have been mass shootings if they are psyops, to people actually think that they died when no one died and yet take away people's freedoms. Because no, I am against that. And that's what we need to find out. Because when you listen to and you read a lot of stuff of Consortium News, and also from the founder, Robert Perry, and I'm probably sure Joe Loria too, you're going to find, hey, let's look into this, because they're saying one thing and, well, it doesn't add up. You can look at Iraq war, you can look at the Syria gas attacks. Heck, you could probably even look at other gas attacks from Libya. If you probably looked into that or they wrote about it, it's going to say, hey, it looks like a false flag to me. Yeah, there are indicators. And most of the time it's because, hey, the investigation is being pretty much held back, or certain people aren't being allowed to testify, certain experts and whatnot, or, hey, there's these problems within this report. Is like, can we comment on it? No, you cannot comment on it. It's obstructed. But yeah, it's investigated, it's obstructed, or the ones who are doing the investigation are agencies within the government or outside special interest groups that pretty much are very heavily involved within the government in the defense industry. Anyways, let's go to 6A because it's continuation. You can see my thing on the top left. If you had chosen to make such a claim elsewhere or on our channel under another username, no one would have batted an eyelid, but you made it as Ebon Kim, a credited CN Live team member under the mantle of Consortium News' impeccable reputation for factual, reliable reporting. Yeah, I would say yeah. And I'm still doing that. Because I'm not claiming anything. The only thing I'm claiming is, hey, this right here, this statement, like you are, except you are incorrect, this statement doesn't add up. It's a lie, or, it's directly contradictory to what they've said before. Yet before, they admitted they were lying, so what can we regard this as? You know, I'm questioning the statements, questioning what I'm seeing, and if it looks like a lie, it smells like a lie, hey, maybe it's a lie. And sometimes I catch it right off the bat. Just look at the entire PBS, Genius by Stephen Hawking. proof that the Earth is not flat and it's a globe, and they have to edit a video where you can obviously see 3 birds flying across the screen left to right horizontally in the same formation in the same snapshots for a helicopter when it rises and a helicopter when it goes down. Anyways, that your beliefs, and again, it's not a belief. Everyone says it's a belief. I don't believe in anything. I'm an agnostic, and also a Gnostic, but agnostic, pretty much. Should not cause a problem. I understand should to mean that we agreed it would be inappropriate and unethical for you to use Consortium platform to espouse them. As what? Well, okay. I guess you want to censor people who work on the team, but not censor people who are just ordinary citizens and commenting. Yet I have to hold by a standard of being censored by a news organization that says they don't censor anyone. So how does that work? Isn't that kind of hypocritical? I mean, like if say Robert Perry, and he indicated in just that interview that I just replayed, said, yeah, there are those will say, hey, you probably shouldn't write this, or, we're probably not going to publish it. There are these editors within news organizations all over the world. Some people even getting fired. And of course, you can find articles where Robert Perry even writes about that. How, hey, someone said something like this and they were critical of it and they got fired for it. It's like, that happens. It's been reported to happen. And this is kind of what you're doing, except, I took the higher stance and just left because I ain't dealing with that shit. All right. Having crossed the line and had them rejected, you appear to be retaliating by effectively censoring their program with your sudden withdrawal. Oh, so I'm the one censoring, and here we go. Here's the reversal. The victim ends up being the perpetrator, and the person who is the perpetrator becomes the victim. We've seen that pattern quite often, haven't we? It's a narrative that everyone that probably watches Consortium News should know. Anyways, that hurts everyone. The rest of the team, our guests and the public, even Julian Assange, since we intended to have Mark Davis on next week to crush the Guardian smear definitively and make a real difference in terms of service. Well, then you shouldn't be censoring those who are helping you. You came to me asking for me to work on a team. I didn't go to you to ask for me to work on your team. You asked me. And make a real difference in terms of his defense. Christina Assange, who has been ardently supporting us over the last 5 weeks, has said, well done. Look, if you want to, you can come on my show. You can have Mark Davis come on my show. You've got the link to Zoom right now. I change it up so people don't use the link that I have that's customized. You can just have him come. If it's that important, put him on my show. I won't censor it. If you make a statement about something, I won't censor that either. Oh, YouTube might. And advise us to protect his valuable talk. I implore you, Bond, to not launch a wrecking ball on all this good work. I'm sorry. It's not that I'm launching a wrecking ball. I'm just hoping you understand the hypocrisy that's going on within the Consortium News, which you're a part of, and hopefully you amend that. A wrecking ball is crashing it all down. I got a lot of sensitive information. I don't reveal it. There's a certain thing that one has, I don't know, honor, honesty, ethics, morality. If you want to withdraw, fair enough, but do it graciously and with consideration for all your actions affected. Yeah, but no graciousness or consideration for me, it appears. I've asked blank and blank if they can help us, and blank is willing, but for a smooth transition, request you send blank the CN Live OBS profile. Will you do that for me, please? I'm sorry to see you go. And let's see, we got a few more here. I can simply break apart, this is me replying, any argument by not putting it in full context, just as you and Joe have done with my statement. Bond Kim, and this is, I'm copying and pasting what I said on YouTube. And you can easily see it again. Just going to the link that I have in the description box is right there. It's exactly what I said. And you can keep fast forwarding it so you can see all my replies. Let's bring that back. Wow. Hold on. Damn it, wrong one. I think, and I bold, the fact that these mass shootings cannot be investigated to ensure it's not a false flag or psyop is an indicator that it may be a false flag or psyop. And again, look, I use certain key words here, right? To ensure it's not a false flag or psyop. Does that mean that it is a false flag or psyop? I just say is an indicator that it may be a false flag or psyop. Just because someone is doing something or preventing something doesn't necessarily mean it is what you think that they're doing, but it is a possibility. And I chose my words carefully, even though I'm typing while I'm handling the live stream. And I go, hey, if we're going to let mainstream media and government control the investigations and not let independent third-party individuals or organizations investigate their findings, then that is clear obstruction of the First Amendment. My full statement does not state a factual or not factual information. It implies possibilities of what may be an indicator from past occurrences where false flags have been admittedly done. This is a fact. I am done with this conversation. I'm not necessarily. We made one last reply because I just wanted someone to get that. Oh, Bon, I didn't quote all of it because it's the first part that is false. And again, focusing the first third of my statement to be the end all of my statement. No. Why? No journalist, no ethical journalist just takes a portion of a statement and says, oh, look what this person said. And not putting the entire statement in its full context. I think the fact that these mass shootings cannot be investigated is not a fact. Yeah, if you put it that way, it's not a fact. We don't know. That's why I said to ensure that it's not, hey, it could be an indicator that it may or may not be, right? That's what I said. The rest of the second and third of the sentence, my statement, that's where the problem lies. Your opinion would be a fair comment if it were true that mass shootings cannot be investigated. Is that really what you meant to assert? If you didn't mean it was a fact, an irrefutable truth, because no mass shootings have ever been investigated, I'm telling you to think it's just unfortunate how you express yourself. Can you please send a blank the OBS profile? And reply, there's a reason I didn't put just that part in with my statement. It's like you saying I'm prejudiced against gay people because you quote from me, I hate gay pride parades. Well, my full quote is, I hate gay pride parades when people who oppose gay pride parades show up. You're only making the case against me worse. Reply, no, it is not, and you don't need the comma after parades because it's all one conditional statement. I've tried to explain how your sentence asserts something that is clearly untrue to be a fact before you set your opinion on that asserted fact. I didn't even... Oh my gosh. Did you mean that mass shootings cannot even be investigated or that the motivation behind them cannot be fully determined? In the first instance, most people would disagree. In the second, they may well agree. Do you realize you were commenting as a team member of a news outlet where words must be very cleverly chosen so as not to confuse or misinform the public? Yes, I did that. You could admit that, and of course, to make my comments clear, when someone is asserting that, hey, I'm referring to mass shootings as false flags, and you won't even keep my reply so as I can tell them exactly what I stated, and that, no, I never indicated that mass shootings are false flags. And I would even call them false flags. Because we're not invading anybody. It's a psychological operation. And you know who wrote about psychological operations? Robert Perry, Consortium News, how U.S. flooded the world with psyops. back in March 25th, 2017. Talks about a whole bunch of things that you may want to read. Essentially, the PSYOPs idea was to play on the cultural weaknesses of a target population so they could be more easily manipulated and controlled. But the challenges facing the Reagan administration in the 1980s led to its determination that peacetime PSYOPs were also needed, and the target populations had to include the American public. All right, so you guys know this. You guys are journalists. You guys are from Consortium News. You know who the founder is. Do you not read your founder's articles? Robert Perry? I mean, this is just stuff I know too, that pretty much a lot of people that are probably watching me now should know, or Consortium News readers, they should know this. So if the government, CIA, FBI, NSA, wherever, they admit to that, yeah, hey, we've got these things that are called PSYOPs, and we've disclosed that, we had plans to carry it out to the U.S. population. They even have, hey, look, they have jobs, careers in the Army. You could be a psychological operations specialist. All right, so if these things are carried out, oh, not to mention, and I know, Shirley, you know this, they made it, they had it so the United States could make propaganda on its own citizens? I don't know which one that is. I remember reading up on that. But yeah, okay, so if all of this is going on, and this has been known for decades, and so it's for politically charged reasons, and that's what they've stated. Shouldn't it be a journalist's duty or job to investigate these things to make sure that these aren't PSYOPs conducted by the U.S. government? Shouldn't it? Or you're just going to take the government's word for it? I mean, that's not what the First Amendment was for, to just say, we'll just record what the government says and report that, and therefore it's true. No, they were always like, yeah, really, prove it to us. All right, that doesn't make any sense. And again, I mean, this could be just easily looked at. Again, he also added more from the archive by Robert Perry, originally published December 20th, 2014. The Victory of Perception Management. He talks about the entire PSYOP towards the American people, and it's called Perception Management, and where it's about domestic propaganda. I mean, how would you not know this? So, if you're going to assert that mass shootings can and never will be or are PSYOPs or false flags, and you're just going to take the government's word for it, then you're not doing your investigative work. You're not doing journalism. You're not really doing what you should be doing. When the U.S. government had invaded Iraq because of weapons of mass destruction, I have a feeling everyone within Consortium News, I have a feeling Joe Loria, Elizabeth Voss, and Kathy Vogan were going, shouldn't we have an investigation, third party investigation, see if there are? And so far, anything that's reported seems indicate that there really isn't. But then there's this one source within the government says that, yeah, there is. So we're just going to take that person's word on it, just because everyone believes that there's weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, that we're going to go to war. Yeah, I doubt that. So that was okay to look into, because it's fooling the rest of the world, but not really. It is fooling the people in the United States too. I don't know why that'd be okay and this stuff isn't. All right, let's what else? Echoes of Iraq, WMD fraud in Syria, and this is Robert Perry again, September 10th, 2017. Yeah, good stuff here, right? Robert Perry indicating, hey, look, Why would they gas themselves? Well, they're winning. I am pretty sure Elizabeth Voss reported on this that it makes no sense that Syria would guess the democratically elected prime minister is going to gas his own people so that the United States will intervene and invade, just like they did in Libya. It makes total sense. All right, so globalresearch.ca 53 admitted false flags. Here's one. How about COINTELPRO? You don't think that was ever a thing? You know, you could say, oh, that existed. That doesn't mean it exists now. You know, I mean, yeah, they did that stuff way back, but they don't do it now. They even admitted, or you're gonna be like, they never admitted that they did such a thing as COINTELPRO. Oh wait, they did. Oh, what is this? Vault.fbi.gov. I think you made that up, Ebon. You must be crazy. I mean, that's it. That's not factual. Look, I'm just showing you what they're saying. COINTELPRO, the FBI began COINTELPRO, short for Counterintelligence Program, in 1956 to disrupt the activities of the Communist Party of the United States. In the 1960s, it expanded to include a number of other domestic groups, such as the Ku Klux Klan, the Socialist Workers' Party, and the Black Panther Party. All COINTELPRO operations were ended in 1971. Oh, really? Although limited in scope, ended in 1971. It seems like Robert Perry was saying no. It continued on. Anyways, although limited in scope, about 0.2% of the FBI's workload over a 15-year period, COINTELPRO was later rightfully criticized by Congress and the American people for abridging First Amendment rights and for other reasons. Now, there was a lot of investigation into it, right? And they go, hey, yeah, okay. Yeah, they were doing that. They didn't want to own up to it because the people in power are going to want to stay in power. Oh, so if I told you that there was a time where the government released joint chief of staff or whatever, you know what I'm talking about, maybe not. Anyways, the government released that, they planned on bombing American citizens with planes in order to start a war with another country. Does that sound, do you think I'm a conspiracy theorist? Do you think I'm talking about 9/11? No. I'm not talking about 9/11, but it sounds like that could have been what happened with 9/11. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about Operation Northwoods. And look, from Chief of Operations, Cuba Project, Subject Operation Mongoose. Dated 5th of March, 1962. This is from nsarchive2.gwu.edu. It's unclassified. You can see it. Here it is. As admitted by the U.S. government, recently declassified documents show that in 1962, the American Joint Chief of Staff signed off on a plan to blow up American airplanes using an elaborate plan involving the switching of airplanes and also to commit terrorist acts on American soil and then to blame it on the Cubans in order to justify an invasion of Cuba. See the following news report, the official documents, and watch this interview with the former Washington investigative producer for ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. So there you have it. They even admit it. And then someone goes, hey, wasn't that something that U.S. planned to do, back in the 60s? When people were talking about 9/11 being a false flag, which, yeah, that would be a false flag. This would be 24. This would be a false flag. It could be psyops too, but you could call it a false flag. And people would go, conspiracy theorist. Hey, no, wait, they had this plan since 1962, at least. Oh, what a conspiracy theorist. My goodness. Why don't you go on and comment on some factual information and not misinform the public? It's like, look, let's read Operation Northwoods, the unclassified document. Find it on congress.gov or wherever. Library of Congress.gov. You'll probably find it. All the declassified, unclassified information after FOIA requests. Or maybe trust Peter Jennings. Maybe why don't you watch him? with an interview? Or how about ABC? Maybe you believe ABC. They told it. So are you saying ABC and Peter Jennings is a liar? How dare you? So when I look into stuff, I'm just looking at the official narrative. But when I also look at stuff, I look at people who investigate. And this person, Wolfgang Habig, is one of the people who's very, very much disliked. And he doesn't even go into conspiracy theories and anything like that. He's just looking into, hey, what doesn't add up? It's like, let's ask around. So he doesn't even touch anything that happened. What he's looking into is invoices, and that, this is what we're supposed to do when this happens. So is this what actually happened? Or, hey, let's look at, this, we've got these, emails from the superintendent or whatever, and all this other stuff. Email exchange between the Sandy Hook Elementary's principal and school custodian on moving to school, and an invoice from Dean's Foods of a food delivery at Sandy Hook Elementary School, at Chalk Hill Middle School in Monroe, Connecticut. The spreadsheet listing invoice of Dean Food deliveries of Sandy Hook Elementary School in Monroe. None of this touches on the actual mass shooting of Sandy Hook. It's just looking into all these little weird abnormalities that seem to have occurred. And if these are invoices and all these things are true, then it puts some of the things that actually happened in Sandy Hook into question, and that we should probably look into it more. And of course, he's being sued. But even reading this, do I say that the Sandy Hook mass shooting was a false flag? No. First, I would never call it a false flag. Two, okay, maybe I'm calling a stop. Have I ever called Sandy Hook a psyop? No. I said could be. Who knows? I wish we knew more information. I wish we could have more people investigating it, and not just have the authorities and the FBI or the NSA or the mainstream media investigate it. Let's just have some real people who are independent of it, third party outside of it, investigate it. And that's what this person's doing. And he's pretty much blocked and attacked and redacted and censored and whatever. And you know what? I called him because someone that I follow within the flat earth community, oh, such a scary term right there, called Marty Leeds, who deals with a lot of math and numerology and things like that. You know what? We exchanged on Skype, and I asked him, hey, can I get Wolfgang Habig's contact information? He gave me his phone number, and I contacted him and left him a voice message saying, do that. So I did. And hopefully I get to interview Wolfgang Habig, and I want to ask him questions, and framing it is, all right, all right, what was your, break it all down, because a lot of his stuff has been taken off and censored. It's like, all right, what exactly are you investigating? Are you 100%, like, hey, I'll say it straight up, like, I don't know if this mass shooting is a false flag. Of course you wouldn't call it a false flag, but a psyop. Are you 100% that it's a psyop, and that it didn't really happen? We'll get his idea of it, and then we'll ask, okay, what makes you think that? He'll provide his thought processes and what his findings, and see if it touches on that, what actually a lot of conspiracy theorists are actually looking at. And you never know if all of that is just a controlled opposition to control the narrative of conspiracy theories. Look at that. They're thinking crisis actors and all of this stuff. And it's like, no, we're looking at just stuff that we could actually see, receipts and invoices and emails, and, let's piece it together that way, because that's just evidence. It's not conjecture, it's evidence. It's actual, evidence. There's no other word I could say. And if all of this is true, with all of these emails and food service invoices and moving of moving of the address for the school where the food delivery is not actually going to the Sandy Hook Elementary School but to Chalk Hill Middle School, then where was Sandy Hook Elementary getting their food? And all this other stuff. Anyways, that's that. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. I've said my piece. It's an hour and 7 minutes. All right, let's see. Alt O. Let me look at your comments, because on that entire tirade, I did not look at anyone's comments. So I'm sorry about that. Hello, Shirley. Hello, Mia. Hi, Kathy B. Hi, Grant Jarvis. I'm scrolling all the way up. Sorry. Hi, RSFO. I already enjoyed my freedom of speech. Go to hell t-shirt. All right. Let's see. Talking about RTS, real-time strategy, and turn-based strategy. That's funny stuff. Grant Jarvis. Why I say the same thing about investigations being terrible. Chilcot investigation into Iraq war, good example. British government inquiry came out and said 4 reasons Libya were BS, so saying read previous comment. Kathy B, the ugly view of Western democracy, CN July 18th, 2019, from flimsy false flags in the Gulf to the signing of Assange's extradition warrant. Craig Murray reviews the abuses of power made obvious in the past 2 weeks. Claude Alley projection. I don't think Epstein's dead, just removed. He might be dead, but no way. How do you introduce new evidence? Investigation after investigation. Grant Jarvis, with Vegas shooting, they'll have trouble with new evidence. One crime scene was contaminated and light left on. Now any new evidence may be inadmissible in court. Yeah. Evidence found at contaminated crime scene will be inadmissible. The Vegas deal was Claude Alley. But, we don't know enough to 100% say it was a psyop. Look, these people are trained to do this from the military and maybe anything outside that, maybe, I don't know. But they're trained. You're trained. And this exists. It has existed. It currently does exist. It still exists. To find out that it doesn't exist, maybe people aren't doing any research, or maybe they are prevented from doing that research. And at any rate, that is just against the First Amendment anyways. Kathy B, they should also know what it's like to be the victim of character assassination. Kelly Lane, hi Kelly Lane. Claude Alley, perception propaganda. The term was called perception management, but yeah. I heard Big's about to drop in 5 days at Claude Alley. Might have to do with the Vatican. Alright, well. Kathy B. Okay. Replying to Kelly Lane. Old joke about a ASIO official who said, "We don't use medieval torture techniques. We're a modern agency." Oh, that's bad joke. Horrible joke. Claude Alley, CIA says that once everything we believe is wrong, then we have done their job. Yeah, I know that quote. What does it mean when everything you believe is right? How long is that ends dong? Wow. Oh boy. False flag is the worst name ever. They should have called it something else. What's the opposite of a LARP? Blah blah, blame Jews. Former Jews would be a much happier place. How do you know that? I like Jews. I know a lot of Jews. I trust a couple Jews with my kids, and that's not a reach. That's not an easy thing for me. So maybe Zionist Jews, maybe Zionists, maybe someone who like Israeli Jews, propagandist Jews. I don't know. Whatever faction, pretty much anyone who just wants to spread lies. I would say I don't like them. You don't have to categorize them. Let's see. Really? Like cheese rather than juice. Get that cheese. Hi, Bob. Yeah. Anyways, I think I can put this to bed. I think it's done. Stop censoring people. Let me see here. All right, let me hide the Zoom just so. Oh, it's already hidden. Hi, 215.
It's me.
Hi, Shirley. I should know that zip code by now. Oh shit. Oh, how are you doing?
Area code.
Yeah. I was about to end it because there's really nothing much more I can say. But I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I just stated that? You think my first 1/3 of the statement is what should be focused on?
Well, I was running back and forth. I was doing dishes.
No worries.
But the conspiracy theories, like I said, the CIA and FBI made that up after they covered up JFK.
Yep. And hey, Ray McGovern, you listen to him, right? He even admits that he's
Yeah, I
an
love
ex-CIA
Ray
analyst.
McGovern and Bill Biddy. Do you follow the veterans from the USS Liberty?
No, wait. What do you mean? Sorry.
The soldiers, the former soldiers that were on the USS Liberty. It was hit by, I guess, some kind of bomb or something. And they knew who did it. You know who did it.
Was this back in, like, the 90s that you're talking about?
No, not in the 90s. This is old time because these veterans are old. They have a YouTube page, too.
Okay.
The USS Liberty.
I'm thinking of something else. Okay.
And they're trying to get in touch with Trump to let him know that Israel hit that ship. Because when they were hit, they told them, don't you say anything. If you do, we're going to give you shock treatment.
Oh. Hey, are you going to really listen to some old veterans who served their country and got torpedoed or whatever? I'm just kidding. Goodness gracious. I shouldn't be so sarcastic. All right. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean,
Me either.
The only way we get our information is because people are brave enough to speak out even with threats of violence against them. Right? And
yeah.
that's why we follow all these whistleblowers, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the whole point? It's like, hey, there's some corruption going on here, or there's some lying going on here, and they're reporting it, and everyone is attacking them for reporting it, and they don't focus on what the corruption is. Because if it didn't reveal a scandal or corruption, no one would care, right? Like, no one would care if say Hillary Clinton's private emails was all about yoga. No one would care. It's like, okay, it's yoga emails. No one cares about that. Oh, wait, there's more to it than just yoga emails? Like, it's...
I heard some people say, I don't care about her emails. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
And look at France. How many days they been in? Is it they up to the 40th? In Hong Kong.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're talking about, all the riots and stuff going on, or the... no, riots is the wrong term. Protests.
It's
the mainstream media calls them riots.
Riots.
Yeah, mainstream media calls them riots.
They turn to riots when the police start getting involved.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's all over the world. It's Brazil, Hong Kong, France.
Yeah.
Venezuela's been doing that for a long time. It's time the U.S. started protesting out there, and they have been. It's just not a concentrated effort as a lot of these other countries seem to be doing.
Well, a lot of people haven't gotten the word yet.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Because my husband was just telling me, they said Warren is rising in the polls. I said, where the hell did you get that from? MSNBC, CNN. He couldn't say nothing. I said, they bamboozling your butt again. They did the same thing in 2016.
What? You don't
And
trust
I
the DNC?
wonder-
The DNC changed from 2016. They're not the same
Oh,
as they
hell
were.
no. They never reflected on what the hell they done.
What? You don't trust, was it Tom Perez?
Hell no.
is
He
the
looked
new-
like the Tales from the Crypt keeper.
Oh my goodness. But isn't he
He
a progressive? I thought Tom Perez was a progressive.
He's not a progressive, because him and Obama, when he was the labor department secretary, they changed some tax laws to get Uber in.
Where are you getting your information, Shirley? From these conspiracy theorist websites?
Well, if you want to call them conspiracy theories, I call them the truth.
Oh man. It would be so easy to just kind of tune out, huh, Shirley?
And it's not easy.
Yeah.
Because I want to know what the hell you trying to do to me and the people in this country. Oh, you know what I watched today? Oh, it was on YouTube. It was a college. What's the name of it? I saved it in my favorites. And it was this woman. She's a doctor, and her last name is Eisenberg. And she wrote a book called 400 Years of White History. And it was really deep. She was explaining, her book is for like 490 pages. Spring College, I think she did it at. And I watched it on YouTube. It was like 55 minutes because she said, I can't explain everything that happened in my book. It was a history of how the lower white class was treated and how all those derogatory names were brought up by the white oligarchs. It was deep. And they were held as slaves, too.
Yeah.
And I learned Benjamin Franklin didn't care for those people either.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that we do read about founding founders and stuff, they kind of they didn't stand up all the way. They had a lot of sayings and nice wordages, but, they made allowances, but they did it in a way to hopefully ensure that in the future that what they state would be the case. And I don't know.
They had some sick names for white people.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
And
just like they had it for African Americans.
Yeah. And there's a reason why there's certain founding fathers that I really like to focus in on and stuff, especially the Adamses for me, just because they weren't Freemasons. Not that Freemasons are necessarily bad, but there has been a lot of infiltrations within organizations and societies all around the world, not just the U.S. But
oh no, it's the
they
British.
also never owned slaves.
Who?
The Samuel Adams and John Quincy Adams too.
Oh.
And, there's a list of those founding fathers that didn't, and that's just in those days that's probably pretty much unheard of. But that they were able to do that is just great, because they just stood up to their principles as much as they can and never gave in an inch.
All I can say is the history of school was a bunch of piece of toilet paper. We didn't learn anything.
Yeah. Well, I would love
We
to.
really did not learn anything.
I can't wait till I see my kids' history books and stuff like that, so I can read up on it. I want to turn to the page like in 2001 and 2002 and 3 and 4 of everything that happened from 9/11 to the lead up to the Iraq War, and see what they put in there.
And you know what else? They think people are stupid. I saw the documentary on the creation of those two towers, and they were built to withstand a plane going through there. I think they forgot about that, because that was an implosion. That was not from them planes.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just typing in.
And the media, Bernie was in Iowa at the fair,
mhm.
and some MSNBC reporter was talking to him. He said, "You know, you're dropping in the polls." He said, "Look, that's that mainstream media polls. You can't believe that stuff."
I wish we could roll back 2016. And
Yeah.
I wish, like, I wonder if, like, I would love to interview Bernie Sanders. I would love to ask him, if we went back in time, 2016, and all that, that ends up happening with Donald Trump elected and all this stuff, and, the DNC fraud and all that stuff, would you have just stayed your course, or would you just have just kept going as you are doing now? Like, I wonder about that. Like, does he just think, like, he's a smart guy, right? I don't think he knows what was going on. After he talked with President Obama, he changed his stance 180.
Oh, yeah, he looked totally different. He looked defeated.
Yeah. So I wonder if he just kind of regrets what happened, and I don't know.
But I don't know, because as soon as Warren and Biden came out and said they were running, he said, if they get nominated, I will endorse them.
That's good. At least he's at least
that wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, he's at least sticking to his guns this time around. He was probably told, hey, if Hillary Clinton doesn't win, we'll make sure you get endorsed in 2020. And now he's probably finding out, oh, they're doing this to me all over again. I mean, they're gonna make false promises just so you fall in line. Oh, it's fun talking to you, Shirley. I enjoy it.
I be watching so much stuff. I try to get my husband to watch it, and he's like, nah, you hooked on that YouTube. I said, you the one that got me on it. Tell me, you need to watch those independent reporters on YouTube. And I've been hooked since.
Yeah.
I don't believe everything I say. Like RT says, question more. You get your information, but you go research it afterwards.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people say the same thing, and I think that's good. Like when I tout Bill Cooper, he has that quote of trust no one, do your own research, and figure out for yourself what's true and what's not. And don't rely on someone else to tell you what's true. That's kind of how we got into this point,
Yep.
And he was fooled. He was like a big UFO conspiracy theorist guy, because he trusted kind of like all the information that was put out on that from the military standpoint. And then I think the last couple of years of his life, he was like going, oh man, all of that was a hoax. The UFOs and all of that's a hoax. And people don't realize that, because the interview he did with someone talking about that isn't widely known. And so, like a flat earther, Marty Leeds, Bill Cooper might have gotten stuff wrong, just like he got that wrong. But he knew at the end, he's like, hey, the whole UFO thing is a hoax. Even though
it is.
Yeah, it really is. And so it's like, yeah, we get like. People get fooled a lot. Heck, I've been fooled a lot. You've been fooled a lot. But, it's about not getting fooled. Getting fooled less and less until you realize, hey, it's really hard to get fooled again, because there's a really simple pattern to this whole thing. Right, Shirley?
Yep.
Yep.
Now, some people may get triggered about what I'm about to say, but I watched this YouTube guy. His name is Brother Ben X. He goes back in history, like in Egyptian time.
Mm-hmm.
and he said, I hate to say this, but I'm not surprised. He said Hitler was not a bad guy. He was trying to get free energy for the whole world.
Yep, I heard that
and
one.
He showed the thing he built, and he saw what the Zionists was doing in Germany, because they were mistreating the Germans too.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, this is not surprising, because every leader of a country, they always make up a story about him. But I don't think he should have been gassing people and things like that. That was wrong. But anyway, he realized they were going to try to take all over the world globally. And that's when they came up with that UFO and spaceship stuff. Have you noticed rappers are wearing NASA shirts now?
Really?
Yeah, they in the rap business.
Oh wow! I've been out of the loop with a lot of media.
And I learned that from that channel, because when he said, yeah, the rappers, you hear him talking about some intelligent stuff, we don't use those words. They don't even know nothing about those kind of words. And they don't. And that's not being inconsiderate, but they don't.
Yeah. And remember when who was it? Who's gosh, what's his name? He's the Golden State Warriors point guard. He's like really good stuff. How do I not know his name? Stephon Curry. Steph Curry. Steph Curry, yeah. Oh, I don't know why I'm saying it wrong. Mm-hmm. Like he's saying that he doesn't believe in that they landed on the moon. You remember that they had?
I don't believe that either.
Yeah, but he said it on this like really kind of small podcast, and did
they go after him?
Yeah, they went after him.
I know they did.
NASA contacted him, say, "Hey, come over here. We'll show you the space, our facilities." And then next thing you know, he goes, "Yeah, I retract my statement. We went to the moon."
Because the Egyptians, they had technology in this building, and that's why I'm thinking back to Michael Jackson's video, Remember the Time, when it was Egyptian, because he wanted to prove that he's still black.
Black or white?
Our history.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
It's the song Black or White, yeah.
No, not Black or White. Remember the Time. Eddie Murphy was in that model.
Oh, yeah, Remember the Time. Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, it was the whole...
Remember the Time.
I don't know why I was thinking of Black or White, but yeah, okay, you're right.
And they had some kind of funny-shaped building. It was like oval shape. It could look like a spaceship, but they had a whole bunch of technology in it. They were well advanced before the U.S. got involved, and they tore it down. And don't you remember they said they brought Nazis back here to the United States?
Mm-hmm. That's how this NASA was started. With,
yeah, because they knew the technology.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Shirley,
like, what the hell?
I'm worried about you, Shirley, because once you think that that we never landed on the moon, next thing you know, you're gonna be a flat earther, Shirley.
Well, I hope they don't cut me off of YouTube.
Don't worry, I do a lot of stuff on flat Earth, and they haven't kicked me out.
They kicked me out before, and I don't know why.
Oh.
But I think somebody tried to use my password, so I changed it, and they put me back on.
Okay.
They said I put child porn up. I'm like, hell no. I don't even do videos.
Yeah, I know. Oh, man.
But it's amazing. You learn new things every day.
Yeah. A lot of that is just people who just constantly go at it and try to let people know.
He does research. He said, I don't even get sleep. I do research for 6 hours or longer to find this stuff out.
A lot of it's out there, and a lot of it has been kind of contorted and redone, controlled opposition, I would say, but I have no proof. All I could say is like they just seem to have a pattern, right? A pattern that usually follows, and it's like, okay, here's the pattern. I'm still dubious about them, but there's people out there that don't follow the same pattern. It's like, huh, that's new. I mean, they got to be really, really smart to have us fall for this and not use the same pattern. But I don't think so. So that's where I usually go, okay, I think I'll follow this for a little while and see where it goes. And then if it's good, it's good. And then when you find out it's not good, then you go, okay, add that to the list. And then you look at it in hindsight. Oh, the pattern was there. I just didn't notice it just as good as I did. So it's a funny thing when you go through the world of the web and everyone who puts out content and stuff like that. And it's tough. And you still have to be kind of undecided either way. Instead you just get a different perspective and you go, yeah, I guess that could be a possibility. And then there are like people who are like very adamant about no, never, can't even think about that. And you're like going, why is everyone saying that? I mean, can't we just say, hey?
Or they tell you they don't show it on the news.
Yeah. So, you kind of have to question and wonders, like, why are they pushing this so much? I mean, it's like a very out there proposal of thought, and it's like most people would say, hey, that's just crazy talk. No one would really believe this stuff, and then so why even worry about it if it's crazy talk? It's like, just focus on things that are like pertinent, not what this little conspiracy theorist guy is saying about, hey, and you gotta shut him down and censor him and just hit him with hate speech. And it's like, no. Look, here, I want to present this to you, and that's it. I just want to present it. I'm not saying anything whether it's one way or another, but hey, let's look at this. Isn't this peculiar? And that's what a lot of science, and there's a quote of science, the scientist is like, I wish I could bring it up, but there's a scientist who, I think. Yeah,
I watched this guy, the High Wire with LBRY, and he talks about the vaccines. He's really good too.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not against vaccines, but these new ones that are coming out, the doctors don't even look at the side effects, the pamphlet that come in the medicine. They just give it to the kids.
Yeah.
Because there's some stuff that can paralyze the damn kids.
So there's this quote that's usually touted a lot, but no one really knows exactly where the reference came from, whether it came from Archimedes or Isaac Asimov. It's like the most exciting phrase to hear in science, the one that heralds new discoveries, is not "Eureka, I found it," but that's funny or that's odd, right? That's peculiar because it's something that just you expected, but it's not, and you rerun it, it's the same result, and you're like, and you keep going, and it's like, we never thought that this would be the case, and yet it's just they made science be boring and the only way that you can make it into a journal is, and remember where they had a little trick like that. Here's what I love about trolls. Like someone trolled the scientific journal of accreditation of academia, whatever, and they just put bogus experiments out there and they got published, and they were just saying, hey, we put out 20 or 30 we put out like 100 bogus experiments, and 20 or 30 of them got published in the scientific journals that are accredited journals, and were peer reviewed and were signed off on. This was like at least a decade, if not 2 decades ago, where they did this, and it's like makes you think, right? I mean,
yep.
I
remember that journalist Ed Murrow.
Yeah. Wasn't he the one that said good night and something else? Like he had a tagline at the end of his shows?
Yeah, because he talked about how the journalists aren't being journalists anymore. Because even that guy, Mike Rivera, I watch every day, he mentions he went to journalist school. He said it's totally different now. They teach them hair, makeup, because I see like news reporters, new ones that come on my regular TV news, and I'm like, This one guy, I'm like, Bob Brooks. I'm like, he looked like he's auditioning for a modeling job instead of doing the news. He was always outside with no jacket on. It could be rain, sleet, or snow. His hair never blew in the wind or nothing. And I'm like, why are they hiring these kind of people? Nobody go out and look for news. They just given a script.
Yeah. And remember all the movies and TV shows of where you see people looking professional? They're all sitting at the table looking through the looking through the newspapers, you know? And that makes you look pretty professional. And they tell that in the movies all the time and the TV shows.
And I know that's a lot, but a lot of these movies and TV shows be showing what the deep state and shadow government are doing, too.
The hidden in plain sight stuff, Shirley?
But the hidden in plain sight, but what's that?
Oh, where they'll just... it's where... sorry. I didn't know you were asking. I like, just registered. So it's so there's this conspiracy theory that the those, in order to work either some type of magic or karma or whatever, is they have to let the public know that what they're doing, you know, and they'll say it or have it shown in plain sight to the public in their face directly. And you know, if they don't stop, if the public don't take it as a real thing, or they take it, you know, as a joke or whatever, you know, then nothing, it doesn't affect them. That there's no like karmic retribution or whatever it is, because look, they told people publicly what they're doing and what they plan on doing, and people don't believe them. Hey, it's on them. Right? No one's stopping us. We told them exactly what we're doing. It's that type of thing. I don't know if that's exactly the case or not, but that's one of the ideas of the hidden plain sight is they tell you exactly what they're doing.
Well, right now the Democrats are not hiding it.
Yeah.
Because I watch TV shows that some person gets arrested by the FBI or the CIA. And they get them in a room and he's like, I want my lawyer. Well, you're not allowed to have a lawyer, and you're not allowed to speak to anyone else.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's really true, because Obama signed that into law.
Yep, habeas corpus.
And he left it for the orange orangutan, because he thought Hillary was going to win. Can you imagine what Hillary would have done with all this shit?
Well, we're gonna find out. She's gonna be our next president, Shirley. I'm sorry.
Oh no, she's not. No, she's not. No, she's not. She cannot be the next president.
She's gonna run in the DNC primaries. She's gonna be the candidate. She's gonna run against Donald Trump. To say that she's gonna become president in a fair and square election, I don't think so. But she's gonna be the next president in some way, somehow. I mean. You already know.
Flipping, talking about the poor kids can learn as much as the white kids. I'm like, man, he needs to shut up.
No, he's one of those guys where the more he keeps talking, the worse it is for him.
Yeah.
Yep.
People been asking, let him talk more in the debates. He's going to dig more of a hole for himself.
It's like, if I was the campaign manager, I'd say, Biden, just shut up. Just shut up, and you'll just you got it. You know, it's in the bag. Just shut up.
Well, they hire dummies. They hire corporate dummies.
Yeah.
And that's what they do.
Yeah. Man, I mean, like a campaign manager, all it is just someone who's really good at PR. You know, or at least they should be. And I wonder if it's like. It's like George W. Bush, like he couldn't remember the script. It's like, just read off the teleprompter, and then Bush would go off the teleprompter and come up with his own stuff, and it'd just be the dumbest thing. It was like people keep telling him, just read what's on the teleprompter.
I know. I never forget that classic when he's overseas. That dude threw that shoe at him. I still got that video saved.
Remember where he was exiting the meeting in China or something?
No, he was standing at the podium talking. I think he was in Iraq.
Oh. Yeah.
He threw that shoe at him. They gave that man prison time, too. I said, that's a damn shame.
Yeah.
He didn't deserve no prison time. They invaded their country for no goddamn reason.
I mean, George W. Bush had good reflexes. He must have shoes thrown at him all the time because he's just like, whoop. Oh, man. Let's see. Oh, Bob. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's good talking to you. You know, I wonder if I should make these, maybe I'll make these shows 2 hours to do like the dedicated 1 hour or whatever topic I'm doing and just do the off topic. But I don't know if you're always busy. Sometimes I just don't want to be.
I'm not, in the evening, I'm fine.
Okay.
I be trying to find things to watch.
Yeah.
Until I'm ready to go to bed.
Well, so, well, yeah, I don't know. Obviously, you watch a lot of conspiracy theory stuff, like the crazy ones too. Like we're talking, like Brian and Eric. I think it was last night. Yeah, we were talking about the trannies through like celebrities and presidents and first ladies and stuff. I think it's probably the least likely conspiracy theory that could be true, but it's probably one of the funniest and outrageous ones. It's more outrageous than flat Earth. Flat Earth is you know my thoughts on flat Earth.
Go look for this video for MSNBC on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
The guy name is a black professor. I think for Princeton University. And I'm shocked MSNBC has this guy on because he be calling them out.
Huh.
And his name is Eddie Glaude. Go to Real Clear Politics. You got to find a video there and put it in there. His name. Because the video will come up. And I mean, he was great. He said, you can't blame everything on Trump.
Yeah.
All the problems was here before he got here.
Mm-hmm.
And he told them, y'all got to deal with race. Because, see, they had a lot of poor whites. They think they're going to be extent. You showing all these interracial commercials, but it's not just whites talking about it, because I'm talking about that. Why are they showing all these inter commercials like blacks and whites are just going out together and getting married and having kids? It's not like that.
Yeah, well, I think what's funny is like Trump can say exactly the stuff that the Democrats are saying, and then if the Democrats or the people who follow Democrats are going, oh, he's Trump, he's lying or he's crazy, and it's like, dude, that's what you guys want. And then the people who are Republicans are like, okay, if Trump says we do that, we do that. He's our president, and we're gonna. It's like, what? It's like, do you guys even have a stance on anything, or is it just because, like? But no, they're probably just being led. And
the Democrats are like the Republicans, but they like the Republicans on steroids. Because one MSNBC reporter said Epstein's death is behind Russia. I'm like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm. I think, one thing people don't think about is just like Russia is in on it. They've always kind of been in on it. And look at some photographs with like Putin, Vladimir Putin, and a couple of other presidents and high officials, and I think maybe even a pope or something. I don't know. Interesting photos. It's like, they're all friendly and stuff, right? When they get together.
Yeah.
And then no, we're gonna wage war. And it's like, psh, man, it's such a big act.
Yeah, it is.
Let's see. Let's. Okay. If Hillary Clinton doesn't run, who do you think is gonna be the Democratic nominee?
I hope it's not Biden because he's singing in the polls. Compared to the mainstream media, he's rising.
Yeah.
And he's doing gas after gas after gas. And they getting pissed that people is questioning his mentality. I think he got Alzheimer's.
Do you think it kind of goes against? I mean, do you think they'll lose a certain base where they go, oh well, we tried to get a woman in president last time. I mean, we had a black president in before, but I guess we're going back to like old white guys as president. Do you think they'll lose like a certain base where they go, hey, it's time for change. Let's get a Hispanic or 100% black fella or black female in or whatever. And it's like, why do we have so many like old white guys as president? Are we done with that? It's like, do you think a lot of Democrats might feel that way?
Well, some of them do. Yeah. But Bernie always have a message.
Yeah.
And he never strayed away from it, ever. For over 30 years.
Yeah, but you know my problem with Bernie. It's like, if he can't even challenge the DNC for...
yeah, that's what pisses me off.
Yeah. It's like, how do you expect him to challenge any other problem that we face? I mean, DNC's...
Yeah, I was wondering that too, because you got the deep state and the shadow government.
Yeah.
All presidents are puppets. But I don't think they really can get control of Trump still, because he's his own man.
I don't know. Look at his stance with Israel. A lot of money going to Israel. A lot of legislation passed to support Israel.
Yeah, because he got that damn Jared Kushner on his team, his son-in-law. He needs to get rid of him because a lot of people don't like him. And he's involved in corruption, too, doing his prison reform because his father was locked up, but you ain't doing no different. I think that's the only reason he in the Netanyahu.
Yeah.
Because of Jared.
Look, I don't follow mainstream politics. Heck, I barely even follow alternative politics. Or news, I'm sorry. Mainstream news or alternative news. A lot of the stuff I just kind of read up on where I have to see it because it just turns up on my phone or on Twitter because someone's tweeting about it. And it's like the same thing is always happening, right? It's like U.S. seems to partner up with Israel and Saudi Arabia. They're planning on taking over Syria and Iran. You know, stuff that General Wesley Clark stated that they were doing way back in his interview with.
Oh yeah, he was confronted about that just recently. I think last year.
1 or 2 years ago by
the guy from We Are Change.
The guy from We Are Change.
He looking like what?
Yeah, he just left. Because Amy Goodman was the one who interviewed him. You know, I showed that clip a long time ago.
I was like, wow, Bush couldn't do it. He was going to, but he messed up on that Iraq war. But I think he was still in touch with Obama in that White House. That's why he was so quiet and wasn't saying nothing about Obama. Because you noticed all the funerals they've been today, chummy. Chummy, and Obama took us to those 7 extra wars.
Yeah.
That Wesley Clark stated.
Oh man, let's see. So yeah, I mean, it's always kind of been the same, right? I mean, you could be out of it for years, and we'll just say, what's gonna happen 5-6 years? Oh, we're gonna probably try to take over Iran. And you know, we're gonna team up with our usual besties, Israel and Saudi Arabia. Is like, hey, I thought we were at war with Muslims, or I thought we were, you know, we don't want the Israel. We're like for peace in the Israel-Palestinian conflict. It's like, no, we're siding with Israel on this one. Okay, huh? It's just horrible.
Nancy Pelosi, we will die for Israel. I said, speak for your fucking self. Don't be saying no goddamn we.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, what the hell is going on in that APEC? Because there's some young Jewish millennials that protest out of APEC and go inside the building, too.
Yeah.
They for the Palestinians.
You know what the weirdest thing I still haven't figured out yet? Remember when the hurricane that happened in Texas, and there's a lot of flooding, and a lot of people lost their homes because of the big flooding because of the hurricane in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them, in order to get some money from the government for their lost house, for their last home, they had to sign an agreement, and part of the stipulation in their agreements was not to boycott Israel. And
oh yeah, they've been doing that a lot lately.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I still don't get it. Why did they do that there and just for the housing? It just makes no sense. It's just weird.
And what kills me, they give their people the things that we want here in the United States, and we give them hundreds of millions of dollars every year.
We give them.
And I heard they got the best Arabic school in that country.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird. Like, I still haven't figured it out. I haven't looked into it again, but it's like, why would they just put that in there?
I want to find that out, though. Why are they so in love with Israel?
Oh, that'll be a fun one. It's a good one.
That's not the Jews. It's the Zionists, because they're not real Jews and they're not real Christians. Because you got Christians that don't really believe in the Bible. They use the Bible. That's just like you've got these phony pastors in the United States. They be ordained. They're not really pastors, but they know the Bible. They can repeat it with their eyes closed.
It doesn't even matter. Some of them would probably even get it wrong. People will still just be mesmerized by the way that they say things. They'll give money to them so they could buy a private plane flown by God or Jesus himself so he could fly privately to countries and promote.
Yeah, because they kill for using God when they do this stuff.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't. Well, I don't know. Well, now I have questions who wrote the Bible, because they say like 6 different people wrote 6 different versions. So there's a lot of different people. There's even people who aren't even mentioned. It's just written accounts in different languages. And certain ones were a lot of the gospels and stuff like that were passed down orally. And one of the ways was like, okay, so you had the Hebrew language that was kind of in use, more of those people who kind of understood how to write and read and stuff like that. But those who didn't, most of them were speaking Aramaic. And so you've got a lot of written down accounts of Aramaic. You got ones that are in Hebrew, those that have been translated back into Orthodoxy in Greek, and translations for all of them, and then compiling them, and back in, say, I think it was maybe 400 AD or something, 500. Well, Emperor Constantine selected some of the books, but not all of them. And we know he didn't write all of them, and that's where like the King James Bible came from. But someone had to kind of make the authority on which ones to print, what not to print, because the Holy Bible is so long as it is already. I guess they couldn't fit it all in. But anyways, you could probably do all that research yourself. I'm probably getting a lot of stuff wrong too. But then we realized, hey, there's stuff like the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Book of Enoch, the Nag Hammadi library, all these other accounts of
Christianity and the from accounts from like the disciples and apostles and stuff like that weren't in the original written account, or at least the compilation of the books that a lot of people see today as the New Testament. And it's like, hey, why not? It's like, why aren't these in there? And like it'd be like I
like me. Why you have to have different versions, like the King James version?
It's part translation and part what they might consider as gospel, and what may not be considered as gospel and stuff like that. So there's translation reasons, there's political reasons, and other reasons that we probably don't even know of.
Yeah.
Let's see. Just looking at the chat. Myers Paradox.
And my kids be getting on me. You never took us to Disney when we were little. Well, after I found out what was going on at Disney, I wouldn't take my kids there. All them pedophiles running around. And then one mascot get arrested for touching children, I think a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think there's still some people that are convicted pedophiles working for Disney.
Yes. Even a director or producer of movies, I think the Marvel collection. He was on Twitter.
Nickelodeon still had like convicted pedophiles. It's like, and the people will go, "Oh, that's just conspiracy theories." Like, mainstream media is reporting on this. Are you saying that these mainstream media are conspiracy theorists?
And the poor old Musketeers, I know a lot of them been abused.
Yeah.
And Neptunicello mentioned that.
Yeah. It's funny because a lot of people just pick and choose what to believe or not believe, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, no, government wouldn't do this. Conspiracy. And like, they admitted it. And it's like, okay, but they wouldn't do it now.
They still doing it.
Yeah. You know, there's some excuse. There's always some excuse, right? That people make for others.
And people won't wake up. They still keep going after spending all that goddamn money. It's expensive to go there, even to eat.
Yeah. I've never been there.
I've never been there either, and I'm glad I missed it.
Yeah.
After I found out all that's going on with that place.
Yeah. I don't even think my kids would be even that interested because they haven't been exposed to the Star Wars and all this other stuff. But it's also expensive, like not just the entrance prices, but just the flight costs, the hotel stay, and it's like you're in Florida, or like if you're going to Orlando or whatever. It's like just go for the beaches, right? It's so beautiful out there. Like. There's so much to do, and there's other things like don't they have like a Knott's Berry Farm or something like that? I don't remember, but they have like other like kids resorts type of thing, and it doesn't have to be Disney, and it's cheaper. But I mean, there's just so much to do, and
like we have a Sahara Sands, an indoor swimming facility, cheaper than Disney, and that's in Jersey.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh man, I love watching.
I mean, even Las Vegas is cheaper than Disney.
Yeah. Well, they know you're gonna gamble if you go to Las Vegas. That's why it's so cheap.
And I love it.
Yeah. I mean, for a poor man, you want to go to Las Vegas or Reno to stay at. Because everything's going to be pretty cheap. Because they expect you to gamble.
I had a surfer turf, I think, one time for $6.99. Got there early before that long line showed up.
Yeah. And I know people who would just play at like the nickel slots and just...
Oh, I can't do that. Hell no.
No. They would sit there with just their friends and just put in a little bit at a time and wait for the waitress to stop by and get some alcohol, which is free, and You know, and they're not putting much into the slot machines. They're just kind of talking and just, you know, enjoying themselves with drink that's free.
I play the quarter slot, and I'll try the 50 slot, and I try the $5 slot sometimes. I hit up the $5 slot one time.
Yeah.
Everybody say, "You so lucky when you go to casinos." I said, "Yeah, I do better at the casino than I do with the lottery."
You're not gonna win all that. I'm pretty sure all that lottery stuff is controlled. Have you seen some of the winners on there? If you look up a lot of the winners, they're like trusts and things like that. It's like, really? How did these trusts win? So I think all of that is controlled too. Can't prove it.
Yeah, because it was set the bus workers here that won, and they make pretty good damn money. They've been there for years, and you know several of them they're broke.
Still, after they won?
Yes.
Yeah. Well. Don't know what to say. I mean, most I don't know. Let's see. If I won the lottery, my wife would want us to buy a house and lease this off, and I would say let's buy a house that has like at least 5 to 10 acres and off grid. And I would just do this all the time. I would probably have 8 to 10 hours of live streams. Pretty much. I mean, research and just get stuff out there more organized, and hey, have people do it, pay them, and it's like, I don't know. Let's see what I could do with that money, because like I like my brothers set up stuff for my kids to go to college. I don't even care if they go to college. I don't think that's good for them. I think they're smart enough. They could do things without college. I've been that way. I mean, surely, like I was making like close to $1,500 a day as far as money, and I'm making like $0 now. And I'm just wondering what's going on. Like, do I need to take the blue pill again, or But it's okay. I kind of understand how everything is set, but it's
I've been out of work for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I got a double thing with me. I'm black, I'm dark skinned, and then my age. I'm in my 50s now.
Yeah.
So they discriminate against age.
Yeah.
Because I get so frustrated when I call different companies. And like people, I'm like, what are y'all reading from a script?
Surely,
especially when I call Comcast.
Surely, if I ever make it into money where I could have run shows like an entire working day, I would have you do your own show, and I would gladly pay you, Shirley.
I ain't doing my own show.
Okay, maybe you can work with like the legalities and stuff like that. Like I
just found out we still have a vocational school here that was out back in the day when my baby sister went. They moved it up into the Northeast. They got wood shop and all that stuff in there. And they need to have more in the school district. But they don't want it. They got this system set up by design. Yeah. And they can't really, I think welding they can get jobs. And maybe carpentry.
Welding is always sought after. If you can find a city that I mean, they're the people who come up with those trash compactors and similar things. They need welders all the time. They pay good money for it, and they'll train you.
Yeah, they get good money because my husband said I went to school with somebody. Tracy, he took up trade in high school. As soon as he got out of school, he ain't had to go to college. He got a good paying job. I think he was making $20 an hour, and that was back in the 80s.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of people don't realize is like a lot of people don't want to take on the the things that scare them, right? Like no one wants to be electricians, no one wants to be like in the tech sector and engineering, because they think they're not smart enough to do those jobs. What people don't realize they are. They're just because they don't think they're smart enough, or they don't think they can do it. They don't do it, so they don't know if they can or can't. Which is I don't know if that's just because of the public school system, because of grades, and they go, oh, just because I don't have good grades here, I probably wouldn't be able to do what these people do. But
but they used to have that stuff in school when I was going.
Yeah, they had a lot of vocational
swimming
programs.
classes to learn how to swim.
But now, go ahead. Sorry.
And they had other things, home economics. You had to take that and got graded on it.
Yep.
Sewing, wood shop, auto body repair shop, because the high school I went to, they had one of the best high schools with the auto body repair.
Yeah, and
all those guys and stuff, they get out of school, they get good jobs.
Yeah.
But they couldn't ship everything overseas because China didn't have anything.
Yeah.
And they're booming.
Yeah. It's
doing clean energy and everything.
I remember that. Those were some fun stuff. And I think in Somerville in Massachusetts, they have high schoolers where people can take their cars into the auto shop and have the high school kids like change the oil and stuff for it, and it'd be free.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's
awesome,
how they learn.
That's how they learn. They have different cars, and then you get it for free. Oh, awesome! Hey, Eric. See, look, Eric and Shirley, you guys need to have your own show.
Hello. Hey, Sheba.
Hey,
Cheryl. How's everyone doing?
Good. How are you, Eric?
Doing pretty good. I uploaded like a ton of videos, so.
Yeah, I saw today. Yeah. Well, yesterday.
We're both subscribed to you, Eric. We know when you upload a lot because email EricH26 has uploaded. But it's good, I don't worry about it.
A lot of that stuff was mandatory in schools, and they talk about, the kids overweight, but you took gym out of school.
Yeah.
And recess.
Recess?
Man, I look forward to recess.
They took recess out of school?
Yeah. These new schools they building.
Oh man, what the hell?
And you get in trouble for playing dodgeball, that you can't play that. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? That was a fun game.
I mean, they even have those balls are like those rubber balls are like very light now. So they can make it so it doesn't really hurt.
They took a lot out of school because one day my son's friend came here. He like, Miss Roulette, what's them rings hanging up in our gym all the time? They never use them. I said, boy, we used to have to use them things, and we got graded on it for physical education. He like, really? And I said, we used to have to do the horse and climb up that rope.
Yeah.
Summertime, you had to run track, and you got graded on it. They don't do that no more. Talking about the kids overweight. Well, I guess so. And the shit you putting in the food now.
Wow. That sucks. I was joking because my daughter's in soccer. And I always wanted to be a coach, a head coach. Even if I'm not a head coach, I'd be fine. The thing is, I do this yelling things like, run faster! You're running too slow. You're like a three-toed sloth. You gotta get there right now. Hustle, hustle, hustle.
Lord,
like,
you one of them parents.
I won't be serious.
You in time out.
It's not a serious thing because like my daughter knows I'm not serious, and I think the parents would know I'm not serious either. But I would just pretend to be screaming and
you be acting.
Yeah.
But they're really parents like that.
I know. That's why it would be so funny. But
you both team up just to have kind of a satirical thing going on.
But every time I talk as a coach, it would just be yelling, even if I'm being enthusiastic. You did a really good job. I think you should do it more often. Way to go!
Because they be living their life they wanted to have through their children, and they be pushing them.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
Yeah.
But in soccer, do they get head injuries? Because I know the ball hits up beside the head sometimes.
Sometimes, like if they don't hit it right correctly,
Mm-hmm.
and depends on how fast the ball is going when they hit it. So yeah, but not very often. It's not like it's football.
Right. But still, anytime you get hit in your head, you better get yourself checked out.
Yeah.
Even little kids.
Yeah.
Because Aaron Hernandez, that was horrible. The man had a brain of a 90-something-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Muhammad Ali too, man.
Yeah.
Like
that last fight he had. Well, who was that against?
I don't remember. Yeah, it's
and
just
he
one
got
of those.
That Parkinson's disease.
Yeah. Like, because he was good as far as being one of those people who really was outspoken, especially against authority, and
he was a real activist.
Yeah.
A real sports activist. He lost a lot of money. He said, I ain't going to Vietcong. The Vietnamese didn't do nothing to me.
Yeah.
And he didn't go.
Yeah.
And lost a lot of money. Kaepernick, he's a joke.
Yeah, and I wish like I would like he never had those problems, because I think he would have been just. I mean, his fighting career was one thing, like his ability to box and stuff like that was great, and being a showman was also another good part of it. But like him being active and speaking out, I think was like one of the other great things that often gets overlooked, and I would have loved to have seen him continue that after his boxing career, you know.
Yeah, but he was all jacked up.
Yeah.
He's the one last true athlete activist, besides the ones in the Olympics when they held their arms up in the air.
I mean, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar kind of was an activist.
Yeah,
he's not he wasn't like really out there, but he just tried to get as many people, especially black athletes, to speak out against certain things. Like he always wanted Michael Jordan to be more of an activist, because just he would reach so many people.
but people get stuck up and round waiting in line to buy his goddamn sneakers to sell them.
Yeah.
And my son is one of them. I said, you idiot, you need to stop doing this. I know you want to make money, but you can try to make money another way, and not illegally either.
Yeah.
Making him richer and richer.
So
and it's a shame his father got killed over his gambling debts.
Yeah, well, just wait till you watch the conspiracy theory about that one.
I didn't see that one.
Oh. Yeah, you'll get there in time, I think. You know, one of these days you're gonna turn out like me, Shirley, and you're gonna be like, I think I want to go back. Let's go back. I'll turn on CNN and watch Rachel Maddow, or MSNBC. Right?
I would never watch it. I would never watch those people again, because like with me, I would rather watch people like cover it, because at least people could call out the bullshit. I mean, hell, everyone should criticize the corporate media. They treat criticism like it's so offensive, we need to go and censor. Oh, we're afraid that we're wrong. Oh, we're being paid to read from a script telling us we're wrong. It's like I kind of wish people would just see like they're just reading off of a script and a teleprompter. They're full of shit.
Yeah, man, can't someone pay me $30,000 a day for me to read off a teleprompter for an hour? It just seems like I'm doing it all wrong. I'm just kidding. I feel like I'm doing it all right, but
if they put me in there, they would want me out immediately.
Oh yeah, I think
because I wouldn't bow down what they would have to say. But like, you have to say this, I'd be like, no, I'm gonna say what's on my fucking mind, and you're not gonna do a goddamn thing about it. Then they kick me out.
I don't know who would last longer, Eric, you or me.
They'll just cut you off the air.
Yeah.
then I would make like such a big scene of like, yeah, your guys are fucking recording me anyway. Then I'll make the biggest fucking scene, and probably someone will leak it out and be like, oh.
And they won't show it. Remember all them people stood out protesting outside CNN headquarters? They didn't even cover it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck CNN.
The Clinton News Network.
Yeah, fuck Fox News, and fuck the New York Times, and fuck the Washington Post.
But you know who's been talking some sense on Fox News? That's Tucker Carlson.
Yeah,
he really
yeah.
has been talking some sense.
Yeah, I've been noticing that quite a little bit.
Yeah, because I can't stand him, but lately he's been talking some sense. And they believe he was the one Trump talked to stop them from bombing Iran at that last few seconds. Because he talked to Tucker before that.
Ew, whoa.
Yeah, yep. Because Tucker had Bolton and Pompeo on. And he's like, why do you want to go to war with these countries? I just don't understand it. He is totally against it.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one at Fox News that's like that. And I'm shocked that that other reporter, I used to like him. But he went with that Russian narrative. And he's a liberal, and he's gay. He's on Fox News. He comes on in the afternoon. I'm trying to remember his name.
I don't know.
I gotta find it out. Because he was really good at one time, but he done sided with those fools on the right, on the left. One from one party to me.
Donna Brazil infiltrated Fox News. That's what happened.
Oh, yes, she did.
I mean, you know what? They made the dirty deal with the DNC.
Yeah. I mean,
Shepard Smith. That's his name.
Oh, Shepard Smith.
Shepard Smith.
One of the things that you know, that I mention often, and some people know this. You know, I think you guys know this. It's like the Republicans that are in politics, like the politics between like Republicans and Democrats, they appear hostile, right? But the Republicans, like the 2016 election fraud, they could have ran with it, and they didn't. They could have supported the downfall of the Democratic National Party, and they're just silent on it. It's like they don't want the Democrats to fall. That's all part of the show. That's all part of the act.
Because I think the Republicans are involved with Hillary Clinton. She was always a Republican, her and Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Both of them were.
But they wore a fake Democratic face just to make themselves look good for, you know, all sorts of every community, like, you know, of like, you know, different groups. But, you know, I mean, like the weird thing is like, okay, she like especially when it comes to the LGBT community, it's like, why are people supporting this fucking bitch, right? Like Hillary Clinton of the LGBT community. I mean, she took money from foreign countries that go and stone gay people and throw them off of tall buildings, and yet call Trump a homophobe. What the fuck?
And that what they kills me, they call Trump a bigot, but they're bigots.
Yeah,
that's what's hilarious.
There's a lot of, unfortunately, hypocrisy going on, and
hell yeah,
that shit out. I'm like, damn. I was like, I mean, especially taking money from those countries and Obama advocating for gay people, but you know, let me go and bomb the countries that, you know, go and stone gay people and throw them off tall buildings. Like we really give a shit about them. We just
don't give a shit about no damn body.
Exactly. No. But you know, I have to point that out because you know, when I do my research, no one in the LGBT community really speaks out about that. Like, it's like, why would anybody want to go and support them? Like, they take money from, like, you countries that go and stone gay people and throw them off of tall buildings. Horrendous shit. And it's like, and they're not like, like, it's like, why the fuck did I even support this asshole in the first place? It's like, it's like when I go and observe certain, communities and stuff like that, I was like, why would it, like, it just makes me think. It's like the cult mentality of communities. Like, it's like, why would anybody would want to go and support such a person like that if they claim to represent their ideologies and principles? I was like,
to add,
really fucking gets to me.
To add that, Eric, is where they'll condemn the stuff that they do to women in, say, Iran, because they want to make Iran the enemy. And except that stuff is worse in Saudi Arabia
too.
Yes. Right?
Shit. Don't leave them out.
Man.
Also women too.
It's so funny how you guys
makes me think.
But you know what? A lot of corporations are donating to those groups. I watched Delia Piana, because she's gay.
Yep.
And she's married.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, I do not celebrate that gay pride parade at all. I don't know why they call it gay pride. And when they changed that LGBTQ, we didn't call ourselves that. That's corporations putting that name in. They taking money from Raytheon.
Raytheon?
Yep.
Wait a minute. So these multinational companies that take the same money from those foreign countries that go and do horrendous things to gay people are supporting
the
supporting
LGBT community.
What
and they,
the fuck?
Yeah, because I love watching her. Because she was like, and they got the police guarding them. They said the police wasn't gay people friends. They used to billy club them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Well, the police always followed whoever was giving them orders, much like the military.
Right. And she said, look at the beautiful floats they had for their parade.
I think when you have a lot of local sheriffs that are elected, it's not always the case. But we don't see a lot of that now.
Yeah.
They're usually appointed by, like, especially the big cities. The chief of police is usually appointed by the mayor. But in a lot of smaller communities, they vote on who the sheriff is. And I prefer that than having someone.
And you got a lot of billionaires that are gay too donating to that group.
Mm-hmm.
How about Hillary Clinton supporter Ed Buck?
Every time I hear Hillary Clinton accepting gay people, I just want to put palms on my face. Oh my fucking God.
He liked to use black male escorts and give them drugs at his place, and they die there, and he does not get arrested. They consider it an overdose. And one of them left a letter saying, if you find me dead, it's Ed Buck's fault, because he keep pushing drugs on me. He's still out.
Yeah.
And then hashtag Me Too movement wasn't out there.
You know how the whole thing with Ed, what's that guy that suicided or supposed suicide?
Jeffrey Epstein,
yeah. Because everyone's covering that. Mainstream media.
I don't see it as a suicide. I mean, like, just by looking at it, just something seems really fucking fishy about it. It's just, everyone's questioning it. Even it's like uniting crazy ass people to go and say this kind of shit too. But like,
I don't think he's alive. Like Trump tweeted, Hillaried. He had a T on it.
I have a feeling.
I think he's dead. When he tried the first time, they said he tried the first time, I was like, And he ain't he didn't have, did they say he had MRSA around his neck the first time and he was found in a fetal position?
I don't know.
He's a narcissist just like Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
And someone said he would never commit suicide.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels
Although I
weird.
don't have any empathy or sympathy for him, but I will say there's something fishy about that.
And how about that, Adam? That those documents dropped that Judge unsealed, and that fat ass Bill Richardson was in there. And I said, "Oh, Epstein's gone. He's gonna die." And the next day I got that alert. I said, "Damn it, they did it."
I was like, "Oh shit!" That was like, I was like, that was actually like, holy shit.
It just solely happened the cameras wasn't working in the area.
Yeah,
And the
that always
guards
seems
are
to be
trying to cover up.
That always seems to be a
I'm
pattern.
suspecting camera error. Because you know what, with the technology, they're very, very specific about it, and they just do it intentionally. And plus, we already know about it. That's the most insane thing. I was like, malfunction my ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, black folks would know that's malfunction because they turn the motherfucker off before they come.
I have to say, it's intent. Like, with me, I just think of it as intent. My opinion, intent. It's like, they're too selective when it comes to technology since they're the ones that are controlling it. See?
And they're probably like, hey, we need to raise taxes so we can afford cameras and camcorders that don't malfunction when these things occur.
Yeah, right. And where were the guards at? They all scrambling over there now, making up different excuses.
Yeah.
They're scared.
Yeah, because why you just take them off a suicide watch? Wasn't that 2 weeks ago they found him like that?
Hey, Shirley, you're not supposed to question these things. You're,
I have to question everything.
You're being too smart about it. Can't you just fall in line?
Hell no, I can't fall in line. I ain't fall in line for the 2016 election. I voted for Jill Stein.
Same here on that boat.
And this year, I'm not voting at all. I'm doing like Debbie L. Piana said, obstruct the vote. You ain't picking them. They already have their chosen one.
And that chosen one is Trump, because they're going to do everything, anything and everything just to escalate and elevate Donald Trump, and especially playing along with the media, because
they're doing it now, Eric.
Exactly. They're playing the 2016 DNC playbook again. But they're doing it with much more slyer, slickier, and sneakier.
I don't think they being sneaky there. They out in the damn open.
Yeah. I mean, they were sneaky in
out
2016.
In the open plus sneakier. Out in the open about it, plus sneakier. How about that?
And
out in the open, very obvious, but they're still sneaky about it. They're like, yeah, we do it, but we're gonna be even more sneakier. Still vote for us. Next question. I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna claim to represent your ideologies, although we just really want your money and we just don't give a fuck.
And Trump playing the media. He know what he's doing.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
I like.
I'd rather sit down with the devil because I know where he comes from and how he feels. But like somebody did a video and told black folks, you better stop with your emotions. If you gotta go sit down with the devil, your enemy, you sit down with him. Maybe you'll be able to get something done. Because they laying past every African American that went to that White House to talk to Trump.
Yeah. I've been watching some of HA's stuff lately, because most of the stuff he's saying Hillary Clinton's going to run in 2020. But he also talks about like Donald Trump is like, look, he's like pro wrestling. He knows what he's doing. He's also been part of the whole pro wrestling. It's like, hey, people like a good adversary, a person that people hates, and he just thrives off of it. You know, it's like the ones who are popular in professional wrestling is just the people you love to hate, because then he's like, they keep winning and they keep cheating and they still win. It's like, man, can't we have a wrestler that'll finally shut this, beat this guy up? And then you got someone that they're promoting a lot, like say Hulk Hogan or something like that, and they go, oh, finally he's gonna take him on and finally shut him up and stuff like that. It's like that, and I think HA is spot on with that.
Well, Trump is a narcissist, and narcissists, if you ignore them, they get so angry. And if the media ignores them, I feel sorry for Melania, because she'll catch hell.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that before.
Cause my aunt had a boyfriend like that. She wouldn't talk to him for weeks. He kept calling and calling. She wouldn't answer the phone, and he gets so mad and upset. It was all about him. Me. I worked for an attorney like that before. Oh.
I'm sorry, Shirley. Yeah.
And I listen to Judge Joe Brown. He is so real. The former TV judge.
Former TV judges.
You don't remember him?
Remember him?
Oh yeah, 'cause he be doing shows on YouTube too. He be going different shows, and he mentioned that somebody asked him, "Will there ever be a female president?" He said, "Hell no." Because there are a lot of women that work for women out in the field. And they say they're the worst people you can work for. And I can vouch for that because I'm a legal secretary. And all the women I work for, they were bitches. And I don't want no woman as a president.
Oh, my goodness, Shirley.
Whatsoever. Huh?
I think I need to censor you. You can't be saying like that stuff on my show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding, you silly.
But I'm telling you, I only have one female attorney I'm still friends with. I work with. She was so down to earth. And she had a sister in Texas, and I saw on the Travel Channel, it was a dive barbecue place. There's a lady running it, but she had some good barbecue. She said, when I go there and visit my sister, I'm going there. And she went right there. She said, yeah, it was in the hood, but she said that barbecue was good, and I'm going back. And she just was laid back. Her husband had an affair. She was telling me everything. And that's the first white female attorney I can't say just white, blacks too, because it's a man's world that feels, and they think they have balls like the men, so they treat women really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching a lot of like the waking up process is everywhere, which I've been seeing in it. Like I've been seeing it in entertainment, especially video games and movies. I've seen it in martial arts where people are waking up to it with like MMA and very traditionalist types of martial arts. And anyways, what I'm trying to say is like the video games, the movies that they're trying to push the masculinity of women, like just women taking over the roles of men and not necessarily starting
That's that feminism shit. I wish they wouldn't speak for me.
Well,
they can go to war now.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is what they're saying, which I'm also noticing is like a theme, is rather than having women being portrayed as the protagonists, as the heroes, as the good like the lead in the story, is they just take over stories of men's, like 007. The new Bond is going to be a black female. Thor.
And Grace Jones was pissed about that.
Yeah. Like the new Thor, instead of having just a new story, Natalie Portman is going to be the new Thor in Marvel.
The laminized version.
Yeah. And the thing is, in a lot of these things, is rather than women being, portraying the positive aspects of femininity, they end up taking the role of the male's masculinity, and then of course the males within all these movies, they end up taking role of the dunce, like the non-masculine,
they try to take away men's masculinity.
Yeah, but
with feminism.
Yeah, but give women the masculine part, which is I don't know. I feel like that's just kind of not cool. It's just weird. It's like someone else, although I don't agree with the statement, although I just find it peculiarly funny, is like you'll see lesbians attracted to, like, they just some of the women, like that they consider butch, is like just try to look more like men, and I'm like, and they're like, well, they're like that, and I'm kind of agreeing with them. It's like isn't that kind of the opposite that you would think that would happen? It's like, if you're a lesbian and you're attracted to women, wouldn't you be more attracted if they look more like women and not more like men? Anyways, I thought that was interesting remark.
Interesting.
Yeah, right. Anyways, that's how I was like, some of the things that people say is like, that's a good point. Like, I never thought of it that way. But I don't know.
But
I'm sick of that feminism stuff, though, because they try to emasculate men, and the black men, they really starting to piss me off. Because when I went to LabCorp, I saw a black guy. He had on a suit. It was a skinny suit. I'm like, why are you wearing pants so skinny and they high watery? It didn't look right. And one time I was taking the subway. I had on my skinny jeans, and then this guy, he got on the train and said across me. I said, wait a minute, something wrong with this picture. He got on the same kind of jeans fitting like I do.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
It's disgusting.
It's just a change.
And women today, they don't allow men to use their imagination when they get dressed either.
Oh, you mean like they're like almost not wearing anything?
And just that, all that tight stuff. And when tights first came out, women wore the oversized shirt to cover their butts. Mm-hmm. And then the big women, when they didn't make that stuff in big sizes, but there's a lot of big women wearing them now, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it seems like every woman these days are wearing yoga pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw one girl, she had on gym wear. I'm like, why are you, with a half bra top and some workout pants? And I'm like, why is she, and she was just going somewhere. And I'm like, why is she wearing that right now?
Yeah.
They don't let men use their imagination no more. And I saw that in the old cartoon in the Lockhorns. The old man and the old woman, and it was this woman with a bra top on and something else scandalous. And he says, you know, honey, these women today, they don't let you use your imagination no more. And that was in the 80s.
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
Like the nowadays feminism, like, really, really sucks, because it's like, oh, if you disagree with their feministic ideology, they'll call you a sexist automatically, or you give like an opinion that doesn't agree with it. It's like sexism. It's also like the race, like the fake sexism and the fake racism argument. It's like it gets to that point, and it's like, I'm sick of this fucking shit. I stand with women, but not these women, because all they just want to do is fucking whammon. I mean, that's all they do. It's like, wham, feel bad for me because I have a vagina. Vote for me because I have a vagina. Oh, if you disagree with me, you're a sexist and a misogynist.
I think I think it might be a comedian. I might have to look it up again. But one of the thoughts, again, these different perspectives, was saying, well, women got the raw deal when they were able to vote and start working, because why did they start working? And being able to vote, well, because we weren't taxing them. They're all stay-at-home mothers, and they do housework, and the male would go out and work all day, bring back all the stuff, and they didn't like doing that, but back then they figured take care of the house, take care of the woman, and then now I think they're saying that some organization pushed women to get into a workforce, that way they could collect taxes off of them. So now male and women go to work and work for a lot. And then, of course, it does make business a lot more effective, because then if they do have kids, they're going to have to pay for daycare. They're going to have to pay for babysitting and all this other stuff that's programs. And then, of course, less parenting from them, and stuff like that. And it is kind of like an interesting perspective when you think of it that way. Because
Clinton, with that NAFTA deal, and moved all them jobs out,
mm-hmm.
and you had to have both parents working again. Because at least one parent was home raising the children, and you had them wild out in the street, and you had a good education system back then.
Mm-hmm.
And then the soap opera started changing with the heterosexual sex. That was making me sick. I'm like, why are they getting like that now? And now they took all them off of TV because the stay-at-home moms are gone. This system is set up by design.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame.
Yeah, Kathy B. Yeah, women went to work during World War II. That's when that's when they knew that the women as a workforce is like, hey, why not? They're productive, they're good at what they're doing, but it's I don't think it turned out good for them, because, and another argument that they talk about, and gosh, I gotta find it again, is like look, for women to have a good career, they're gonna have to go to a good college, get a good job afterwards, stay at that job and keep going. And a lot of that focus is on that career. And then, but the thing is, there's a difference between men and women, as women have a timeline where they can't postpone having a kid. Like, they can't postpone having a kid till they're like 40s or 45s or 50s, because the majority of women, they're not going to be able to have a child at that age. It gets the ability to be able to have kids for women who are in their 40s to 50s. It's not gonna.
Tamara Hall just had one.
Yeah, but again, that's the minority, and a lot of research and a lot of doctors are going to agree with that, because there's research about that. But so if you find that, look, if you're a woman and you focus on your career, you get out of college when you're, say, 22. If you go into graduate, like if you get your master's, it's gonna be like you're gonna be 24. You get your PhD, you might be like 28. And to actually have a good, solid pay, salaried position, and pay off all your debts, if the longer you were in school, you're gonna be probably like 34, 35. You're gonna have to balance your work life with finding someone to settle down with, and then by that time, maybe you're gonna have kids. Around 36 to age 40, if you're lucky. If not,
Kamala Harris is too old.
Yeah. Surely. So
subway to the damn top.
So that was just like another perspective to weigh in on. It's like a lot of women these days.
I'm like, how can you just focus on your career and not think about family?
Mm-hmm.
But I give women their props. They go for that to get pregnant on their own.
Yep.
And raise the kids.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens. I've done like single day parenting for like a few days or a week, and I'm like, I'm done. It's hard. I can't see how that happens with just.
So you gotta be young. You gotta be in your 20s having them kids.
Yeah.
Like right
My
now,
mom
my
had
daughter,
my mom had me when she was 26.
my mom had me when she was 17. She was only 17. 17. Yeah, she was 17. And that was back in the day. And they had to get married, her and my father. And they weren't happy.
Sorry. Yeah, let's see. My daughter was born 6 years ago, so my wife was about 34. So it wasn't too late.
Did her pregnancy go well?
It went okay. It wasn't perfect. It was okay.
Yeah, because my daughter was married, and she's like 30, 31.
Mm-hmm.
And she was going for in vitro when she was married.
Mm-hmm.
And then she decided to get a divorce. And she met this guy. I guess she said something was just right about him, and she just happened to get pregnant. I said, I told you it wasn't you. Why did you go get that shit done?
Yeah. Like
and that baby is taking her through hell right now. And she's in her early 30s.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably more painful when you're older too. I think like women's bodies are a lot more flexible than men for probably many reasons. But
a man can't have a baby.
Yeah.
Remember that episode on Bill Cosby? He had like he was pregnant and he was having a baby, but it came out a hoagie.
I don't remember that.
That was hilarious.
like I had a bigger gut than I do now, where I'll puff up my gut, and I'll tell my daughter that, oh, I'm pregnant. We're gonna have another kid. You want another brother or sister? And she just laughs. She knows I can't have a baby. But yeah, it's fun. Oh, right.
Only women can get pregnant.
Yeah. Who knows these days? They'll work on technology and stuff that we're.
That eugenics was in plan a long time ago.
Yeah. 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 Just take it easy on those conspiracy theories, Shirley. It's fun.
I ain't taking it easy. I gotta find out the truth.
Gotta find out that truth as well.
Yes, right. Because I want to know when I'm supposed to stock up, get a generator.
You'll be
able. Because it's gonna happen.
You'll be able to survive.
And then it's strange too, you guys. Remember the power went out again in New York, and it went out in that prison where Epstein was at.
Oh.
That was a false flag.
Oh, don't be going saying it's false flag, Shirley.
Oh, well, it's the truth.
If anything, it's a psyop at the least, Shirley, not a false flag.
Oh, well, whatever. But that's strange.
Yeah, it's just
because somebody mentioned that. They said, remember the lights went out in New York? When I heard that, I said, why the lights go out in New York again? And it went out in the prison Epstein was in.
So when they're talking about the camera wasn't working, or they're talking about every, did the prison say that every camera was off, or did they just say that was particular?
They just said where he was at, it was working.
That's an interesting statement. Plus, a prison system will have backup generators, so even if the power did go out from the city, it wouldn't affect the prison.
Well, it did this one. And that's a federal prison.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they have backup generators.
I didn't know.
And a federal prison, they take care of their people. Because I know someone that went to federal. And they said, I didn't realize I was that one. It was a female. She was like, we weren't locked up in cells or anything like that. So what's going on?
Yeah. Interesting. We won't know until people investigate. But are you going to be satisfied
if you're not going to find out the truth?
Yeah. Well,
And I don't want to hear from mainstream media. My husband not come tell me nothing.
Well, don't you trust the government to tell you the truth about what happened, Shirley?
Hell no.
Why not?
I learned that for years ago. I learned you couldn't trust the government.
All right.
I just had to find out things and learn.
What if the government selected a third-party organization to investigate the situation?
I wouldn't believe it.
So how would you know what to know like the government or the mainstream media is telling the truth? What would you need to do?
Go research.
I'd rather do the research
myself. People on their own, or private investigators, or third-party organizations on their own would have to go and investigate the statements made by the government and the mainstream media to see if it all adds up.
That's just like Al Sharpton. He's an FBI informant.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't trust him at all. I told him that's why I called them Rennerite. I said, why black folks keep calling this man up? He worked for the FBI, setting up the mob in New York. That's why he's getting away with not paying his taxes.
Mm-hmm. It's
They infiltrate groups.
Yeah.
And he infiltrates black groups.
Wait, what? Are you talking about COINTELPRO? That stuff stopped in the 70s, they said.
No, they ain't stopping no goddamn 70s. That never stopped.
It never stopped. I mean, look at the LGBT community.
Yeah.
You know, look at every single community. They're infiltrated.
Hey, did you hear Gillette lost $8 million for that commercial? Yeah.
I'm laughing at that.
When I saw that guy, I said, he's not attractive. He's not even a bill. He's a little skinny Ronnie thing with underwear on.
I heard something in that regard, but I didn't pay attention. But wow, that's
Well, I saw it. That's like Terry Crews. I was like, why this big black muscular guy on TV with underwear on doing a commercial about Gillette? Huh. And he probably turned some men on. And that's why the man grabbed him in front of his wife at a party.
What? Oh,
it was wrong.
Let's see.
Great. Now Eric's gonna look up a black man in his underwear.
No.
I'm just kidding. It's okay, Eric.
Something different.
It's okay. I know. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking around.
Oh, I know. Well, I was gonna go and show you guys this. Now that you're talking about Gillette. Oh no, that's the wrong picture. Damn it.
Hey! Don't get me knocked off of YouTube live streaming, Eric.
Oh, it's nothing dirty. Where is it? I know.
Kathy B. I had my first son at 27, second son at 40. Second son at 40. Let's see. My wife
right, here it is.
had our son
at
38.
Kathy, good. 40 years old?
Yeah.
That happened to my nephew's mother. She had her baby at 40, and she got a 90-year-old congenital heart failure disease.
Now that we're talking about Gillette, the best a man can get. I seen that, I just laughed hard. Because I like stuff like that.
Oh, God. Is that supposedly a transgender?
Yeah, the GameStop incident, yes.
He looked like a man and woman at the same time. See, women can spot those kind of things. Men can't.
And also this ad, but I made this one on my own because I was like, no one made it, and I just had to do it. Here it is. Gillette, the best a gun can get.
Eric. Sometimes, Eric. Just sometimes. All right. It has been almost 3 hours, 2 hours and 56 minutes. So I think I'm going to call it.
God.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Time flies when we talk, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's fun though.
Yeah.
It's fun. I missed it.
Yeah.
I missed it.
Because my husband said, what happened to your talk show? I said, Evan ended it. I'm upset.
I doubt that, Shirley.
Yes, I was. I was upset.
Oh.
Hey, why don't you try to get the interview Eva Bartlett and Vanessa Billy?
Because they'll
And
probably...
Bill Benny.
Because I'm someone people don't really want to, I guess.
Well, how do you present
Participate.
yourself when you talk to them?
I usually write emails and I say, dear blah blah blah, or hi blah blah blah, or so and so, not blah blah blah, and then I'll just do just a short. I would like to interview you about because, and I just kind of give them a one sentence reason why I really want to interview them, and then just list off, all of my videos. They can look me up and just kind of see where I'm coming from. That's it, and then usually it's people who just, a lot of it has been with like in the flat earth community and just things that I'm just kind of looking into right now with other things. And I mean, it just kind of, I throw it out there and they'll usually respond. And then if they don't, well, nothing happens. Or sometimes I'll get like, they go, yes, I'm busy right now, but how about, so-and-so, and things don't work out. Everyone gets busy and
Yeah, because they be in Syria all the time.
yeah. And a lot of them would probably just go with like organizations or something like that. Like for me, it's just like, who wants to get interviewed by someone who calls himself a flat earther and who says, hey, certain factors might indicate something might be a false flag or a psyop. Like like a self-confessed conspiracy theorist, someone who's adamant about the freedoms of provided in the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and things like that, and saying and an anarchist. I consider myself an anarchist too. So like, when people find that out, they're like, no, I think I'll pass. So and I also don't have that much like subscribers and views on my stuff anyway. But there are some people which I give a lot of credit to. They'll do an interview with me, regardless of my view count, regardless of my positions on things. That they're okay to talk with, and I'm like, that's awesome, because that's what we should be doing. We can't be in that like elitist status as saying, what's your view count, or wait, you're a flat earther? No thanks. Where people just put other people in categories and they'll go, no thanks.
No, I'm willing to have a conversation with anyone. I don't care.
Yeah, I know that, Eric. And that's why you're here, and that's why I like you.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Yeah.
Greatly appreciate it.
All right. So
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night,
Shirley,
Yvonne. Good night, Cheryl.
if you wanna set up interviews with people you'd like me to interview, if you want to set that up for me and just CC me on it, it's like, I would love to interview them, and you would love to have you could probably interview them too, Shirley. You could come on and ask them questions. It doesn't have to be me being the person doing the interviewing. You can use my platform to do it.
I could try.
Yeah, it's worth doing.
But I wouldn't explode on them. Because they're giving troops.
Yeah, I don't explode on anybody either. I only explode when they take some of my words out of context, but other than that... All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys in the net. And Shirley, take me up on that offer.
All right.
Bye, Yvonne. Bye,
Bye.
Cheryl. Have a great week.
Bye.
Good night,
Thanks
everybody.
again,
You
Yvonne.
too.
It was fun.